Good morning. I call this meeting to order. Please all rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. All right, I already did roll call. Do we have any additions or changes to the agenda?
There are no changes. There was one document that was added this morning.
Yeah, and it was already an existing item. It is item 10B. It was just a policy outline that answered questions that were posed at the last committee.
Okay.
It's also printed at each of the commissioners' desks.
Oh, okay. All right.
Agenda.
All right, so I got a motion to support. All in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to the minutes from January 14th meeting. All right, I got a motion to support. All in favor, signify with aye. Opposed? All right. Okay, so we're moving on to item 6, which is limited public comment. There is another public comment later in the agenda. If you want to come up and speak, please keep it within 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jody Pruden, and I am here on behalf of the Vermontville Maple Syrup Festival. I thoroughly went through all the information that has been put into the packet, and this has to do with the festival and the description of what a festival is. Interestingly enough, what has been included is the information that I provided to you back in May and June. The information from the state on what a carnival has to be inspected for carnival apparatus as well as event apparatus around the state, which has nothing to do with us because that's state. So there's 20 pages of this, which is basically irrelevant. On top of that, there appears to have not been a definition of a festival yet, which is what we've been requesting for a very long time. I also noticed in the hours that were spent at all of these festivals for review, the same amount of time is spent in Vermontville, basically within maybe an hour or so of all of them. And that includes Frontier Days, the Nordic Festival, and Vermontville. Vermontville practically fits within the fairgrounds. And they've never once inspected anything to do with any tents. There is a little description that temporary structures would be reviewed and inspected, which is fine. And if that's the case, it just needs to be done properly. That much time and that kind of a fee is still what I feel exorbitant. In addition to that, the actual festivals that are listed, the 11 festivals that are listed, more than half of those are in the city of Charlotte, which as of 2 weeks ago, the city of Charlotte has their own planning, zoning, and code construction or construction code on their own. So those will go away. Now, I've said repeatedly that if you want to come out and do inspections that have something to do with the carnival, fine, charge the carnival. If you want to do something for a festival, include all festivals, not just picking a few. And also, in addition to that, a 501c3 groups are exempt from taxes. And for all intents and purposes, permitting is a tax. Therefore, there's another reason to eliminate this for any 501c3 entity. And I hope that you will find that this is exactly what we're seeing here is a lot more of nothing. So thank you very much. And also, we are tapping trees to collect sap starting Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning at Maple Manor in Vermontville. And I would love to invite every one of you to come and just see what happens. In addition to that, Thursday night, next Thursday, the 19th, we are going to be having our annual sugaring off where you can meet our queens in court, and we will provide you with and teach you how to stir your syrup into maple sugar candy. We'd love to invite every one of you to these events. Thank you.
Do we have anybody else?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to speak here. My name is Tim Starr. I'm a property owner near what is called the Creepy Swamp on Five Point that floods all the time. And I just got a few comments I'd like to say about the brown drain, just to get everything on the record here. 9 years ago, a petition was circulated to clean and maintain the brown drain south of the retention pond to the river, or to 5 Point and connected to the river. This was in hopes of reducing the flooding problem that occurred there constantly, and it made the road impassable most of the time in the spring, and really caused a lot of problems down there. Okay, so in 2016, a petition was created and circulated, and I was one of them that signed it. And a BOD was established shortly after that. Because there wasn't any money or anything to repair the road at that time. There was no money to do the work on the drains. So as concerned citizens, we decided to do this petition. A BOD was established, and so the need work was created and determined that work was necessary, and some of the work was done. Property owners were assessed after the work was completed. So I feel that this petition and this BOD should have been closed at the time. 9 years later, they want to reopen this. They're going to use this old petition to do some extended work on the brown drain north of the retention pond, which has nothing to do with what we originally agreed to or thought was going to happen at the time. So I feel that a new petition should be circulated and a new BOD should be established so the landowners affected by this new huge project that's going to cost a substantial amount of money would have the right to look at all the planning on that a little bit further and have a larger input on what's going to happen to them, because it's going to be a great hardship to a lot of these people with this new taxes that are going to be levied for this. So that being said, again, I feel that our old petition, the work was completed, we were assessed for it. In fact, I think we just finished up the tax on that in the year 2024. So I think that old petition was completed, the work was done, and they need to start from scratch and not take an old petition out of the archives and try to improve this project. And it just doesn't seem right. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hello. I'm Christina Fox. I live down the road from Tim. He's explained to you like the process of the petition for the Brown Drain District and what events led up to it and that work was done. I'm also going to talk to you about the fact that a lot of residents in this area within the last 9 years have now changed hands or new places have been built. So in essence, those people don't get a say on something that went from a very minimal amount of money to over, by the time it's done, they're saying 2 to 2.5 million, but we know with taxes and fees, we've seen these projects balloon much more than that. If I use the percentage, or we use the percentage on what we were taxed for the last assessment, this comes out to about 75,000 or more for our property. I know that could be adjusted based on benefit, I get that, but that's still a lot of money for something that's not touching my property. And all of our water from our property drains past where they're doing the drain work. They are taking an 18-inch tile, wanting to upsize it to 36 inches. That will allow for 4 times the capacity for the drain. Our concern is the property at the start of the drain is owned by 1323 South County LLC. That's a corporation that has come before the zoning committee here within the last couple years asking to be rezoned, and they were told that the drain was not sufficient for rezoning. So now this drain would be sufficient for rezoning. The Spicer Engineering Group, when they were doing their informational meeting on January 22nd, stated that the drain is not the fix for the road issues. The new road and the culvert is the fix for the flooding issues, which was what the original intent of the petition was for. So we now are using a petition that was meant for one purpose to possibly, we feel, create an opportunity for now this property to be developed on the backs of citizens that don't have a say in it. That is our concern. There is too many questions around this BOD, and we feel that it just needs to be marked closed so that everyone who now lives in the Brown Drain District, new residents, people who now have a different project in front of them would have a say. My say was in February of 2018 on a $30-some thousand project. That wasn't a problem. This is a problem. So I would just like to make sure that the road commission knows this and that they mark this petition as closed, which it should be. Thank you.
Okay, seeing nobody else moving towards the podium, we'll move on to item 7. Agency reporting, and we start off with the road commission. So come on up, Matt.
Thank you, bear with me, as you can tell, my voice is not good. Have these handy. I was sick, out for a few days, had the nasty bug everybody else had, so bear with me, please. I'll do my best. So everybody should know I'm Matt Hannis, the manager at the Eaton County Road Commission. I'm gonna do the same thing I always do, just kind of go through last year's projects, what we've got coming up. I'm gonna do that fairly quickly, because then I want to cover the proposed millage, because I'm sure that's probably gonna be the bigger item to talk about, but last year was the 11th year of the millage, so this will be the final year coming up. So once we're done this year, it'll complete everything we had planned for the original millage 12 years ago, so, which is good. I think it turned out well. We've always got really good feedback from townships, from residents and things, so I think it was a pretty positive thing. We did subsidize that millage by around $11 million with road commission funds over the 12 years. So far, I don't know if we'll have to do more this year, but we didn't want to not do it right, so we had to do it right, which cost more than what the millage brought in, so we have no problem with that, because again, I think it turned out well. The only subdivision that may not be done this year, I'm not sure, we got a meeting tomorrow, is Grand Point off of Kreitz. They're getting new water main through there, through the Board of Water and Light, some grant they got. It's gonna reconstruct those roads. The millage will put the top 2 inches on, which is what we're gonna do to begin with 2 years ago, so it's kind of been delayed, so we're still gonna put those top 2 inches on through the millage, but it won't be done. It may not be done this year, which is technically the end of it. Countywide, there's a map that has all this stuff, so there's a millage map that has what we did, and then, no, okay, again, bear with me, I apologize, my brain's about 70% right now. There's a map for the 2025 that includes everything, millage, primary, and everything, so everything I'm talking about will be on that map. All the millage projects and the primary projects. We did just over 70 miles of chip seal. 16 of those miles, we did a skin patch ahead of time. It's a real thin layer of asphalt just to smooth out the bumps. So it's cheaper than putting like a 2-inch asphalt on, and it really can help extend the life of the project, so. Just under 9 miles of resurfacing, and then we did preventative maintenance on 4 primary road bridges and replaced one large culvert, one large county drain culvert. We did 6.5 miles of chip seal on local roads, through our township match program with Oneida Township and Hamlin Township, so we do definitely appreciate them participating in that. One local road bridge was included in that preventive maintenance bridge project I was talking about. And, oh yeah, and replace one large culvert on a county drain on a local road as well. And then we did a bunch of smaller culverts. As we do with the projects, we try and get in and make sure we don't want to leave a culverts in bad shape, a 12-inch culvert or something, then have a hole in the road, brand new road. So that was last year's. Upcoming this year, again, last year the millage is going to be about 7 miles of subdivision paving, just under a mile of rural paving, and then 86 miles of re-gravel. And then again, the 2 applications of dust control like we do every year. That will complete the prior millage. Then we're going to do about 70 miles of chip seal, with 9 of those getting a skin patch ahead of time, and about 6 miles of resurfacing on the primaries. There will be more than that, but that's what we have planned right now, documented. Large projects that we have, federal aid projects, so we have 5 Point from Mauer to Matthews Road, that's the one through Creepy Swamp. That had to get split into 2 projects due to the way federal funding works. So between Mauer and the Battle Creek Bridge will get done starting in April, I think, is the plan. And that should be done by before June. It's a pretty minimal amount of work. And then the section from the river to the east end of Creepy Swamp will start sometime this fall. We're still waiting on Eagle approval and EPA review, and it's just dragging on entirely too long, but so we're working through that. That's they're gonna put like a foot or foot and a half material on, and they'll have to let it sit there for a few weeks till it's done settling. Then they come back, put another foot and a half on. They're gonna have to keep doing that until it kind of stops settling. Then they'll pull material off and then build the road. So it's gonna look like they work like crazy for a week, and then all of a sudden nothing's happening. It's exactly what's going on. So if you hear that, say, hey, they're not working. Yep, they're not, because they can't do anything until it settles. And it's kind of an unknown because it's a settlement, and they're gonna have to wait to see what it does. They're hoping 3 months to get the settlement, and then they can build the road. Could potentially take 6 months. So if you ask me how long it's gonna be closed, I'm not gonna tell you. Webster Road Bridge is scheduled to be closed at the beginning of February 16th and is supposed to take about 6 months. So I know it's a big one. It's only a couple ways around there. So, but once it's done, it'll be a 100-year bridge, as long as we maintain it and take care of it. So, Holt Highway from Diamonddale to Waverly, it's gonna get rehabilitated, widened with paved shoulders, so it'll have paved shoulders. They got bike lanes in the village, but essentially paved shoulders all the way through into Ingham County that has paved shoulders. So that whole stretch will have paved shoulders, be done brand new, reconstructed and paved road, or rehabilitated, I guess. There's a pathway that apparently is coming. I haven't heard anything about it in a while, but apparently build a pathway next to it or something. So if anybody knows anything about that, you probably know more than I do about it. I will say in 5 Point, we will, because I know the section from Creepy Swamp to Marshall Road is pretty rough shape. We'll keep patching it and do the best we can. That will also get rehabilitated once the Creepy Swamp section's done. I don't want to do work on it, get it nice, and then drive a bunch of construction equipment on it. So that'll have to wait till afterwards, but we'll do our best to keep it patched up. We may have to do some like skin patching in different areas. Our local road heavy maintenance match program, so that's a township match program. It's about the same as it's been. I increased the amount from 750,000 to 775, not a huge increase. The big change is state law allows us to match 75% towards large culverts and bridges. On a road project, it's 50-50. We can't match more than 50%, but on a bridge project, we can. So we changed that. to make it more attractive to townships to match some of these bridges, because our local road bridges are the ones that are in bad condition. Our primaries are pretty good shape. Once Webster's done, they'll all be in pretty good shape. Our locals need some help, so that was only a big change. I have met with all but 2 townships. I'm still trying to connect with them individually to talk about their issues, their roads and stuff, so I think that's been pretty successful. They've all been real happy and thought it was a better than our big annual township meeting. So, yeah, we're gonna, I think, keep doing that every year, and hopefully it helps build those relationships a little better. I do have a director of engineering now, finally. I know I've come here for 3 years, whatever it's been, and I probably kept getting older and older looking because I was getting stressed out. So I have somebody to do that. Does that mean I have more time? No, because I'm now finally getting to do the things that I've been wanting to do for 3 years. So I'm still busy like crazy, but hopefully in the next month, 6 months to a year, I'll have caught up, and then I'll have time to really focus on bigger picture type things. So that's before I get into the proposed upcoming millage. Anybody have any questions on any of those items?
Commissioner Droschky.
Sure, young man.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Matt.
Morning.
You're doing pretty good for a weak voice. I'm struggling a little bit, but
Yeah, I'm trying.
couple things. Rumble strips.
Yep.
Are we ever going to employ them for our bad intersections in Eaton County?
Probably not anytime soon. And I guess, what's your definition of bad intersection?
Well, I'm thinking Island Highway and Stewart Road and M50, stuff like that. I mean, we did it at, was it St. Joe or Mount Hope at M100? And they seemed to work.
Yeah, MDOT did that, and I couldn't get a definitive answer on whether they were successful or not. They didn't really have good enough data to say, yeah, it was best thing we ever did. They still ended up putting the signal in, obviously, so I'm not sure if they were successful or not. I asked them and I couldn't get a,
Well, I'd love to see a pilot program in Eaton County, and if you want to start with Eaton Township, I'm more than happy to see that too. But instead of using the raised painted lines, do the grooves in the pavement like they do for the state highways, and see how effective they become. I mean, it's getting to be kind of ridiculous. We got people blowing through corners because apparently they can't see 2 stop signs and flashing lights and everything else. And I don't think it warrants a 4-way stop. In particular, Stewart Road and Island Highway.
yeah,
But-
that definitely does not. Island Canal, I looked, and it's right on the verge of whether it may or may not. I started looking into the data, and then the millage and everything else came up, so. But it's not like overwhelming. Yeah, it's obviously needs a 4-way stop, so it's nothing we're gonna
Well-
do right away.
The thing that I find remarkable is how many close calls there are versus how many accidents there are. And if you listen to the locals there, myself being one, my brother the other, there's some close calls up there. I've seen them. So I don't know what people are doing. I've seen some come up on there, never hit the brakes and go on through. And others, they'll tap the brake and then slide on through. So I don't know. Anyway, second question, Creepy Swamp 5-Point Highway. How many culverts are you gonna put under this new road?
So there's currently 2 culverts, and we're gonna replace those 2 culverts.
But one is dedicated to the Brown Drain, correct, on the east end? Yeah.
One at the Brown Drains.
Okay, how many are gonna be in the river portion of that?
We won't be doing any work in the river. As far as the creek, you mean, or the actual Battle Creek River?
Well, the Battle Creek River, where the road is settling and it floods, how many culverts are we gonna put under there?
The 2 culverts gonna be under where Creepy Swamp is. We're not doing any work actually in the river. Everything to the east of the bridge is not part of the river. It's part of the floodplain and Creepy Swamp. And there's 2 culverts there now, and we're just replacing those.
But one of those culverts is dedicated to the Brown Drain, correct?
Correct.
So how many are dedicated just to the river portion?
Just to the Brown Drain.
No, the river. That road goes over the Battle Creek River.
Correct.
How many culverts service just the river?
No culverts, the bridge services.
Okay, so that's why it goes over the top of the road.
It goes over top of the road because the road is lower than the probably the 10-year floodplain, for sure, maybe the 2-year floodplain. The Battle Creek River, so I had somebody go out and get some survey shots when it was flooded. They shot the river, and then they shot where it was flooded over the road. It was at the exact same elevation. River is controlling the flooding, not necessarily the brown drain when it comes through there. So when we raise the road up, it's still gonna flood just like it did in the swamp. It just won't go over the road because the road will now be higher. The culvert we're putting in is gonna be quite a bit bigger than what's there. So it's gonna handle anything the brown drain could possibly push through there.
Well, how come we're not putting a huge culvert in for the river alone to alleviate some of that backing? I mean, the road becomes a dam is what it's gonna, and the higher you raise it, the bigger the dam. So how come we're not putting culverts? I mean, would think the ideal situation would be to put a bridge across there and be done with it, but why aren't we using at least one huge culvert, maybe two large culverts under there to avoid that?
We are, the culvert's gonna be, I wanna say it's 16 feet wide by like 8 feet high, the one for the brown drain, and the other one's gonna be a 6-foot diameter, something like that. I wasn't prepared for that, so I don't have those exact, but they're gonna be big, way, way bigger than what's there.
So that would accommodate, what, a 100-year flood event, they call it, storm event?
Yeah, yes,
You think it will?
yes.
Because these people have houses up there to the north side of that. And I've talked with a few of them, they're not too confident.
The culvert will have nothing to do with the flooding in the swamp. The swamp's gonna flood as a result of the river.
Right.
Nothing to do with that culvert.
Well,
It'll flood each side of that bridge. So no matter what we do with the road, when the river comes up, it's gonna go over the banks on each side of it.
exactly.
So there's nothing,
So the road commission is gonna put a culvert for the river to flow through. Why don't we size that sufficient that it doesn't back up when we have a flood event over the banks and go into the brown drain?
you're getting into a lot deeper hydrology than I'm an expert in. So that's a good question for hydraulics. And
Well, then let's do it. Before we get started on that project, let's do that and find out what we need to do to make it so that water goes past that road instead of backing up to the north side of it and then going through our drain and flooding people's properties. This is what I don't understand is why we're not modifying that road to the extent that it won't back up into the drain on the north side of it.
The road will have nothing to do with the flooding of anything around there once we're done. That the culvert we're putting in is sized for a 100-year flood through the brown drain. But the Battle Creek River, when that backs up, it's coming towards the culvert. So anything coming to the culvert can't even get to the river because the river's actually higher than what the water is coming from. So whatever we do on that road will not affect the flooding of the Battle Creek River. There's nothing the road commission can do. That's probably Army Corps of Engineers thing because the whole river probably needs to be dredged or something to lower the floodplain of the river. So the river is what's causing the flooding, not.
Right, right. So if we address the culverts in the river,
But the culverts in the river aren't causing the flooding. The flooding is being caused by the river and the amount of water coming through it and whatever's downstream that's not allowing the water to get through fast enough.
so the water downstream of that 5-point highway or the damming to the south of it, that's the issue?
Yeah, something with the Battle Creek River in general is when that comes up high, it floods the swamp, not anything coming from upstream through that culvert. The Battle Creek River is actually what's backing up into that. So there's nothing, I could put 1,000 bridges or whatever through the Battle Creek River, change whatever the road could do, and it would still back up.
Well, okay, Matt, I'll take your word for it. I'm not convinced, but I'm assuming that of course plays a role in it, but I've been down there in years past when the water was freely flowing over the top of that road. So that water was going somewhere. It wasn't backing up and going north. It was going south. And that roadway was just a levee for it to go over. So I don't know why, if we're going to do a road project that's going to cost us a lot of money, we don't anticipate the future and open that up so that there's the water flows more freely, and then the brown drain doesn't take the impact of it. And these people that have property there can have a dry basement and a driveway that's passable. I mean, along with the wife of a friend of mine went off that road one winter because she couldn't see where the edge of the road was. I would hate to think that once it's raised, we're not gonna have guardrails and stuff up there. I would hope we're gonna have that, but it's just not a good road. I think we need to do a huge improvement on it instead of what some have deemed to be a Band-Aid fix. So, I would like to see, when's this project supposed to start? This road project?
It would be this fall.
This fall of 2026?
Yeah.
Is there some way we can get the Army Corps of Engineers involved in this now?
To look at the river itself.
For whatever they've got to do. I don't care what they've got to do. Can we get a hold of them and find out what can be done?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never needed to talk to the Army Corps of Engineers. I'm not even sure where to start with that, but I can look into it, I guess, and see. Because again, the road, no matter what we do on the road, we're not gonna change any of what you're talking about as far as the flooding of the swamp, and the culverts we're putting in are gonna be plenty big enough to handle anything coming through the brown drain. So the road will not be a restriction to the brown drain anymore.
Right, but the road crosses the river right next to the brown drain.
So you wanted to replace the bridge and make the bridge longer?
I would love to. I tried to get MDOT and the DNR to put a bridge across there 6 or 8 years ago, and they were like, yeah, there's no bottom to that swamp. We can't put a bridge in there.
Which,
Yeah, you can. If you can put a bridge across Louisiana, you can put a bridge across Creepy Swamp.
yeah.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, anyway, all right, thank you, Matt.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yes, good morning, Matt. On the, talking about the river, that's currently really where all the problem is, backing up the water and making all that area swamp area. In previous years, back in the 60s and everything, that property along the river and everything was farmed. And of course, the EPA and Eagle and everything turned it into a wet zone. And so that's basically what needs to be fixed first is getting that river cleaned out to allow that water to flow down through there. The second thing is what elevation will that drain that you're talking about, the 6 by 12 or whatever it is, how deep is that going to go down to help drain things? From what I had heard that the EPA won't let them go lower to actually drain the swampy area there, wetland area.
Yeah, so.
What are your plans for doing that?
The Eagle requirements, I believe we have to bury the bottom of the culvert 2 feet. It'll be 2 feet below the brown drain profile that we got from the drain office. So it'll be buried 2 feet. So technically it could drain 2 feet deeper than what it does now. But again, that culvert is not gonna affect that flooding that you're talking about. Once it gets to where once it gets to where the river is higher than the swamp, then that culvert's essentially just gonna be sitting there waiting for the river to go down so then the water can keep flowing. The whole thing is essentially a big swimming pool at that point. And so that's the issue we've had before, because again, I had somebody go out and verify that because I want to make sure I had that answer, and the river elevation was the exact same elevation as the water crossing the road, even though it's 1,000 feet upstream.
Now, what's the elevation, for instance, in Bellevue of the river compared to what it would be at 5 Point?
And that I don't know. I have not looked at the river itself because that's way above and beyond what the road commission would get involved in. That's a bigger item. I'm not sure if the river is a county drain, where the drain office could pursue that possibly, or if it's not. Some rivers are, some aren't, so I'm not sure if that one is or not.
And how high are you planning on raising the road down through there?
The area that's kind of flat that doesn't flood, I think, is 2.5 feet higher. So the low spot ends up being about 4 to 5 feet higher.
And will driveways and everything have to be raised to get to the road then?
No, because the one driveway, Jerry's driveway, that it may have to be raised a little bit, but he's got plenty of length to slope it. And then the one right next to the bridge is gonna have to be modified because that will raise a little bit as well. And we've talked to both of them. But no other driveways are gonna be affected.
And that will be, the cost for that will be under the work that will be done then?
Yes, everything for the road project, including relocating the drain, the culverts for the drain, everything for the road project is being paid for by the road project.
And is there a cost already allocated for a grant or something for that?
Yeah, we got an earmark 2 years ago, federal earmark to raise that section so it doesn't flood anymore.
Will new contracts for doing that increase at all over what earmarks that you've already gotten?
Maybe. If it is, then I guess the road commission's on the hook, so.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Shaver.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Hannis, for your report. You may have already met with Vermontville Township. I'm not sure because of the meeting cycles, et cetera. I know you said you hadn't met with two of them. There was some concerns from some of the citizens in Vermontville Township about the Allegan Road Bridge, the Brick Highway Bridge, and the Shaytown Bridge. There's kind of a triangle there. I'm going from my memory, which, you know, I cover 4 townships, but that area, one of the bridges is out, the other two, the load limits or the weight limits on them are significantly low. It's affecting ability for emergency response from the fire department to that area, the way it flows from listening to the fire chief. Are those all local bridges? Are those primary bridges?
Yep, those are all 3 local road bridges,
Okay.
which has been the hang up.
So those fall underneath the, just for the citizens, those fall underneath that ratio where the township would need to come up with the 25%
Correct.
in order to start replacing those. And I noticed, I got a call not that long ago, but I also noticed that the Nashville, I call them bridges, they're structures. They might be tubes, I'm not certain, to be honest with you, but Nashville Highway, just to the east of Ionia Road there,
Yeah.
got closed. Is that also a local problem?
Yes, that's a local road. And yes, I did meet with Vermontville Township. And
Okay.
we talked about those. Allegan, Brick, and Shaytown, we've been talking about for probably
Long time.
3 years,
Yep.
yeah, quite a while. The other one's obviously new. We're working on a couple different options to replace that, and then looking at the costs on that. So we kind of had a plan, and then somebody brought up maybe a better idea.
Okay.
We're kind of looking into that as well.
Good.
So.
And do all of those, the other 3, the ones that have been existing issues, those have to be replaced with a much larger structure, or are those able to be replaced with tubes?
Trying to think how exactly I want to say this.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I were to apply and get an Eagle permit, yes, they would be much larger.
Okay.
If there's a way that the drain office has a way to replace them without having to go through Eagle and get a permit, then the size would be based on whatever they felt was appropriate
Okay.
for the drain itself.
And that department, or, you know, that commission, which is completely separate from you and here,
Right.
to be clear, they have, you know, the ability to size those themselves and replace them if they so choose.
Yeah, they have certain rules as well where they're supposed to have Eagle permits, but I'm not sure what their rules
Okay.
are, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to know their job.
We have been in communication, definitely on Brick, and then I asked them about all 3 of those in the past, so.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get an idea of what a size would be, so. 'Cause Allegan's probably getting to be high priority.
I think so, from what I'm hearing. So maybe we could facilitate some sort of meeting between the Road Commission, the Drain Commission, and Vermontville Township. Would that be suitable to try to?
Yeah, I'll reach out to the drain office first.
Okay.
And then see what, kind of start that process back up. And then, yeah, if we need to have a joint meeting that.
Great.
makes sense, so.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Matt, I want to move on to, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner Pearl.
Okay, you brought up Webster, and I talked to Marcus Kilpatrick at our Parks Department last year.
Yep.
And Marcus had said that the Webster Bridge would be on the list for 2026, just what you just reported. But it was, the reason I talked to him was about the Parks millage funds that goes out to individual areas on a grant deal. Okay, so he said that part of our Parks millage, okay, to create bike paths across that Webster Bridge is paid for through the park. So as far as the Webster Bridge, what type of funding are you getting to put that project all together?
So the Webster Bridge, we got state, local bridge funds for that, state and federal local bridge funds. I don't know the split right now, but it has both state and federal funds in it. And then the township and the road commissioner matching, we're each paying half of the local match on that. So that's where the funding is coming from for the bridge. The pathway, Delta Township had a transportation alternatives program grant, and that got split. So part of that is paying for the pathway part on the Webster Bridge.
Okay, so the actual Webster Bridge is between state and federal dollars as well as township and road commission, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then the bikes are parks.
Well, the bike lanes the bikes are getting paid for with the project with those federal funds as well. I'm not sure where, so the match that the township is using towards I don't know where they're getting it. They could be getting it from the parks.
Oh, okay.
The parks money isn't going directly to us. It'd be going to the township, and the township would use that to pay us.
Okay, all right, yep. He told me that some of we have a parks millage that operates the parks, but carved out of that is a certain amount of money set aside that can go to individual projects all over the county. So I was just checking on that because I have another idea that I want. So he was assuring me that he didn't have any more time last year to ask for more.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Toomey.
Yeah, just really quick, two of the earlier documents, if you could clarify for me, the two documents, one from January 20th, one from February 5th of the road projects. What's the difference between those two documents again?
My mistake.
Oh, okay.
There shouldn't have been two of them in there. I think they're probably pretty close to identical. There may be differences on them, but the newer one would be probably more accurate.
Okay, so the February 5th, 2026 planned road projects is the one I should be looking at?
Yeah, and it will get updated further as we get further into planning and getting projects listed. That's what we have right now, but that's not probably the final list.
Okay, thank you.
There'll be more than that.
And then really quick as well, for these 26 road projects, can you, and I don't know if this is coming later in our conversation, about the changes to how the state is funding local roads and the increases that we should be seeing there, if you can speak to that at all, or if you're going to discuss that later.
We can't get answers from the state ourselves, so I don't know exactly how much we're getting, when we're getting it, if we're getting it. I know there's the lawsuit at the state with the marijuana tax, and our road association seems to think that it's still gonna be there, but you just never know. So last I heard, the neighborhood roads fund may come as one big lump sum check at the end of the year. No idea how much that'll be though. So until we get that, we will see an increase just from the sales tax switching to fuel tax, but we probably won't start seeing that money till April, May.
Okay, and do we know how much monetarily, not per se, like how much that will benefit us or not yet?
We don't even know that. they had some estimates early on, early, but then they backed off of that and they're like, we don't really know, so.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have a better answer for you.
Commissioner Drosh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matt, I want to take you back to Five Point Highway there across the Meadow Creek River. When Scott asked about raising the road, you said 48 inches. When we were at the January 22nd meeting for the Drain Commission on Brown Drain, Spicer Group had a very detailed drawing of the elevation. They indicated that road would be raised 72 inches. So 6 feet.
How long ago was that?
Well, the 22nd of January, right, Scott?
Yes.
Yeah. They had a slide on their presentation that showed the grade at 72 inches
Yeah.
above current.
It might be that high. I wasn't prepared to answer those specific questions.
Okay.
I thought it was 2.5 feet above the kind of the area that's pretty consistent, which made it about 5 feet, but if it's 6, yeah, it may be 6.
Yeah, it looked like it was gonna be pretty consistent, a flat road
Yeah.
from east to west at the, so, all right, thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Hanson.
Yes, thank you. That culvert, you said, would be more than adequate to handle any water supply coming down from the Brown Drain. So in reality, there really is a need for the Brown Drain to be improved, since it would be able to handle more water already that would go to the river, correct?
I can't speak to that because I have no idea what the drain looks like upstream of there. So I'm not sure what, like, I don't even know how far the drain goes or anything, so I can't really speak to that.
I would just like to let the commissioners know, later in this meeting, we do have the Drain Commission. So if, obviously, Matt can't answer all the questions for the drain, so it might be better to wait for the Drain Commission on some of these questions. Thank you. Are you done, Commissioner?
Yes, thank you.
I didn't mean to interrupt. We don't need to beat up the road commission about the drain. That's all I was trying to get.
Sure. Will Matt be around to,
I don't,
at that time to
Yeah, I can
get that information
I can
from
stay
the
through-
drain office too, for questions?
stay through the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
okay. All right, Matt. So we're going to 7B. I don't know if you got agenda, but it's the resolution to amend your salary and benefit for the road commissioners. That's what we're moving on to next.
Okay, was there something on there specifically about the millage or not?
That's a separate item.
I got you, okay,
I don't want you to move on to the millage until we get this resolved.
okay. Are you guys looking for something from me or?
So as many of you know, not too long ago, the commissioners all voted to increase the committee schedule fee for $50 per meeting for the committees that the board oversees. And since the Board of Commissioners has the fee schedule authority over the road commission, it still remained at 30 or 35, maybe Matt probably knows better on that. But we reached out to the road commission, to Matt, and asked if they wish to request their fee schedule match ours, which is the $50 per meeting. So that's why and his board said, yes, they wanted you to address that. So that's why this resolution's in there and why he's here to address that today.
Do you have anything to add or anything, Matt?
Nope, I asked the board and they had no other changes that they thought they wanted.
Okay, so I go ahead and move that. All right, so I got motions, yes, discussion?
Yep. I just said, so the $4,500 per year, that's the same as it was?
Correct.
Okay, and it's just changing the per diem? Cool.
No further discussion. I got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, Matt. Now we can move on to the millage, after you put a new cough drop in.
Feeling getting dry. Okay, so as everybody knows, we had a millage that got passed in 2014, so it started in 2015. This is the final year, 2026. And we've done a lot of good work. Now the paved roads are in much better shape. The gravel roads are all getting new gravel, so it's been very good. However, our funding has increased somewhat, but it has not increased sufficient to properly maintain these roads still. And we still have the 50-50 match requirement for a lot of the money we receive. The Neighborhood Roads Fund, we can't require a match, but that's not nearly enough money to maintain these roads. So if we just ignore the roads as they were in the past, they're gonna go back to the way they were in the past. So, so it's time to start maintaining these roads. As part of the conversation, I met with all the townships. I showed them what I recommend in order to keep these in good shape and what it would cost the township at the 50-50. And because any new millage wouldn't start till 27, I offered to start doing it in 2026 at that local match. So, so that's, I think, where we're at with a new millage. Won't be a renewal because it's not the exact same thing, I guess. I'm learning way more about millages than I wanted to know, I guess. And so it'll have to be new millage. But it won't be any additional money. It'll be the same mills. It'll be a replacement. So explaining that is gonna be, I think, real important for the road commission to explain that, make sure people understand it, make sure the information gets out so they know what's going on. There are some things in here I just wanted to kind of point out, a couple fun little charts here, but the one got the little pie charts in it. You can see the condition of the roads before we started the millage work. What was that? 70% of them were in poor condition. Now we've got 25% in poor condition, and the difference is the poor to very poor. The ones the 2026 ones that are poor now are barely into the poor. Like if you drove them and looked at them, you wouldn't call them poor, but the surface rating, that's what they're called. But they're still in pretty good shape. And so keeping those in good shape will be the key. Otherwise, we'll be right back to the 2015 pie chart in the near future. The other one here has the other little pie chart. This is the remaining service life, RSL. That's something us engineers like to use. We like acronyms, so RSL is what we throw out. That's how much time we have left on the road condition, essentially is what that says. So an RSL of 11 means there's 11 years left on those roads. 5 to 10 is just 5 to 10, and you get the idea. So you can see the percentages on that are pretty high, but 5 to 10 is not very far down the road. So 41% of the roads that we've done in the millage in 5 to 10 years are gonna be in poor condition if we do nothing to them. That's pretty quick, so. Let's see what else I had here. And then other things included are the 2 resolutions. There's a resolution for the ballot language that the road commission approved, and then a resolution requesting the county board to place the ballot measure on the August primary at the 1.5 mils. In looking at the system, in order to keep your paved roads in good shape, you really should be doing some sort of surface treatment every 5 years or so. That's what we're doing on the primary roads. Our primary roads are getting chip sealed every 5 years. So, and they're on a cycle. You may see a road we pave this year, we chip seal it next year because that's the cycle it's on, and it'll help keep those roads in good shape. Really, the locals should be on that same schedule. Plus, we have 500 miles of gravel roads. Many of our gravel roads are in poor condition because they haven't gotten gravel. I probably was the last one when I was an intern to inspect the gravel being put on there in the mid-90s on a lot of these roads. So that's why they're in such bad shape. We're putting new gravel on them, getting in good shape, getting a lot of good compliments. Same thing, 10 years that gravel gets worn out, dust goes away, and then it's hard to maintain them. So every 10 years or so, really, they should get a new layer, a thin layer of gravel on there. Dust control, same thing. The dust control has been very popular, plus it does help maintain the roads, help keep the gravel in good shape longer. So I think it would be important any future millage include those 2 applications of dust control. And then the two things that are not road surface treatments. Many of our local roads need ditching. We've not had a ditching program. I don't know why before my time, ditching was kind of a no-no. And so we have a lot of roads that need some drainage. That would help a ton on a lot of these, especially gravel roads, but the paved roads as well, getting that water out of the subgrade. And so having money available to do ditching where needed, to where in the next 25 to 30 years, may be able to get some ditching on all the local roads around the county, other than obviously in the subdivisions, but. And then culvert and bridge replacement. There's the map here, that's in your packet as well. Kind of has a 5-year rotation of the local road preventative maintenance that I would intend to do if a millage could get passed. And then there's all those little, I'm colorblind, so I don't know if it's orange or green, those little circles. Well, they could be some completely different color, but those are all the local road bridges and culverts that are not in good condition, that need something done to them, whether it just be a preventative maintenance, a new asphalt surface, or to be completely replaced. As it is right now, the townships would have to pay 25% of all those. Obviously, that's a big amount of money. The millage could help fund some of that. Not saying the townships wouldn't have to maybe match some of it, just to make sure that they, we're not just replacing ones that they don't feel are important. This way, if they have some match in it, then we know it's something that they're actually interested in doing. But we may not do that. This is still preliminary on what we would do exactly. But that's kind of what I looked at as far as the funding. And based on the amount of revenue we've gotten from the 1.5 mils, that would be almost exactly what we would spend to do this program that I've kind of got set up here. I looked at if we could lower the millage, we could, but it's just gonna take away from culverts and bridges or the ditching or something like that. So wouldn't necessarily have to do the 1.5 mils, but then you're limiting on the improvements that we can make and keeping the roads in good condition. So that's why the resolution requests the 1.5 mils. In my understanding is we could, the county board could request less than that. They can't go more than that, but you could request less. So as we move along and we find we're getting more money than we need, then we can reduce that. Okay, I think that's everything.
Thank you. Quick question, looking at the pie charts you made here in the beginning, the 2015 to 2026 improvements, I think that's really helpful. I really like seeing that. Thank you. Is there any way that you could estimate at the 1.5 mil rate at what you believe this pie chart would look like in the future, following an additional few years of improvements versus if we were to stop this funding now, how that would degrade over that same time period? I know you can't do that with like a fine tooth comb, but is that something that you feel confident in estimating?
Yeah, I actually tried to get that done, but at a conference last week and then came back and I was sick for a few days, so I did not get to complete that. There is this RSL sheet program that spits that out, can also spit out some predictions, some projections, things like that. And I looked at it real quick and it looks like everything would be in the good and fair condition if we do it every 5 years.
Okay.
Pours that's probably not realistic, but that's the option. The other nice thing is if we do this millage the way it's worded, get some flexibility. So if there's a road that, okay, it's getting beyond a chip seal at this point, or getting beyond a surface treatment, maybe we have to do an 1.5 inch overlay on it. Do that because it's more flexible. The other one was very strict on rehabilitation, resurfacing all these local roads. This gives some flexibility on doing the proper treatment to each road rather than having to do a certain treatment.
Okay. And you think that'll get us to good and fair?
I think it'll keep them in that range for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Drosha.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matt, so this millage language, the amount requested remains the same, but the millage language has changed. That's why this is a new millage request. Is that correct?
Correct.
So what are we eliminating from the original millage request?
So the original millage was to resurface and rehabilitate every local road, which is a paving or a crush and shape or re-gravel, whatever, and it was every road. So we had 12 years and every road was getting it. This will be more flexible on, we're gonna treat the roads that need to be treated the way they need to be treated, rather than, hey, I have to pave this road. Maybe that road doesn't need to be paved, so why would I want to pave it again? If we did a renewal, many of these roads with crush and shaped, they don't need, they need a chip seal. They don't need anything other than that. But if we did a renewal, then I'm gonna have to go out there and put 2 inches on a road that doesn't need it. So,
This is to give you additional flexibility in the use of funds then?
yeah, and do it, it's called a mix of fixes, if anybody is familiar with asset management, or you guys go to any of these conferences and hear that kind of stuff, mix of fixes. So you can do a chip seal here, you can do an overlay there, you can do ditching here, you can do what needs to be done for that issue on that road, rather than saying, okay, every road's gonna get the same treatment. That may not be appropriate.
What are your funding sources for the road commission?
Oh, wow. So we get our state, Michigan Transportation Funds. That's our monthly check we get through fuel taxes, registration fees.
That's through the state of Michigan.
That's through the state of Michigan. And then there's gonna be the new neighborhood, roads fund. At least that's what they're saying, but I don't know when we're gonna get it, how much that's gonna be. But that's gonna come in the same manner. So it's gonna be split primary, local, and it's gonna have to be spent primary, local, just like the MTF. It's just got, the only different rule is we can't require a match from the townships, I believe. Other than that, it's exactly the same. We can apply for federal grants through MDOT and our local metropolitan planning organization. We get our permit fees, things like that, they're pretty small amount of money. And then the millage.
So,
Anything I'm missing, Jim? I think that's about it.
so this millage represents what portion of your funds?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know percent-wise, so last year it was around 5.6 million, I think. And I believe our Michigan Transportation Fund was around 15. So it's a third of what that
Third of it.
is.
So we'd see a substantial reduction in maintenance if this does not pass.
Yeah, and we have already seen a substantial reduction in maintenance, cold patch, things like that with the millage. And it would be in everybody's best interest to not go back to that. Cold patch is very expensive, then you're running over potholes and things like that. So this will help avoid and eliminate those issues.
All right. I was reading an article not long ago where and this was not in Michigan, so I don't know how it would hold up to Michigan winters, but there was a state, and I want to say it was one of the Midwest states, but anyway, they were mixing asphalt millings in with their gravel when they would re-gravel a road. Is that a project you've ever heard of?
I haven't heard of mixing it like that. We've used millings on gravel roads and washout areas and bad areas because they can pack in and they don't wash out quite as easy. They still wash out over time. So we use them for patching gravel roads mostly, or patching shoulders. If a shoulder gets really bad and washed out, we can use it to kind of patch those areas. You could probably do that. I don't know if you're gonna get as good quality road surface in the long term, just because you don't have, the asphalt's gonna take place of the clays, and the clays are what kind of help hold the road together, things like that, so. But they're using them for chip seal. They've been trying to use them for a lot of different things to find ways to use them, because there's getting to be so many of them. They already put it in asphalt. All the asphalt that goes down, up like probably 99% of the asphalt that goes down has millings in it. So.
Yeah, apparently they had an abundance of this. And the last question, and I was gonna meet with you in your office, but you weren't in the day I was in there. Our off-road vehicle ordinance states that we're gonna have signage on the roads where the off-road vehicles are permitted, and I don't think that project ever got started, much less maintained, and there's a fund in there for fines to add more signs. Where are we at on that?
Nobody's,
Supposed to be signs indicating what roads can be used, what the speed limit is, and apparently some instruction for riding on the side of the road, and that was part of that off-road vehicle maintenance, or resolution.
yeah, we haven't been provided any funding to do that. I mean, if we can get them,
Well, that's the downside to that resolution. I don't think there was a source for funding on it. There's just a mandate to have it done.
yeah. Therein lies the problem, I guess.
All right.
And and I have to look too, because I'm not sure if the state manual for signs, I'm not sure what's in there for ORV signage, so.
This was from the county, so it
Yeah,
had nothing to do
but
with
if
the
it's not in the
state.
manual, I wouldn't be able to install them. It'd be
All right.
against law, so.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Wright?
Hi, thanks, Nat, for coming.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you were here the last time that I had asked, when the millage expired, how much of Delta would still need to be done with inside the local roads, okay? And you said, well, by the time it's expired, everything will be done. Okay, so then the next thing in that same conversation was, well, it'll be up to you, the board, as to how much we want to ask for. Okay, so I remember when I first got back here on the board in 2017, that two people that had experience on the Delta Township Board separately, and neither of them knows, and then there was a third one too that number crunches, and they had said that when that millage comes up for renewal, you are not to vote for it, because Delta Township has been spending $1 million a year on those 12 years not in Delta. I mean, things are getting done in Delta, but the amount that you collect was 1,000 or $1 million more per year going outside of Delta. So I always remembered that. So unbeknownst to me, after the last time you were here, got in a conversation with Commissioner Mudray that is not on this committee. He got the same from the same people when he got on the board and took over from Glenn Freeman. So you had said it was up to us for the 1.5. I left it up to some of the people that I trusted to go get those numbers, you know, to back it up when we were going to have a conversation on renewal. As recent as January. And unbeknownst to me, they leave the country, they leave the state. I don't get anything. So last night, I had sent him a copy also of this sheet that we're looking at right now. And I got conversations back and forth, but I didn't get anybody. They were gonna. You can tell I'm not happy. So I'll try to be polite. But I would still like to see what those other people that I trust were telling me as to how much is going out total on the millage to do our local roads in Delta, and how much is going out all over countywide. So that I have an idea as to putting this back on at 1.5, because I've always agreed. And I've even told some of these people, well, then do something. I go figure out what you need. Do you need a half a mil to keep it maintained? Do you need it 3/4? Do you need it a mil? But if those people that were telling me that were anywhere near correct, 1.5, I don't know where you're going to spend it in Delta for 6 years. So I'll leave it at that. I'll get back to my other people and tell them, you took on that job, you left me to sit in this chair, and I don't have my information. So I don't know where you're gonna spend Deltas and my residents, because a lot of them are really struggling, because we do have the highest tax basis, so they are collecting per acre, no matter whether there's corn in that field, which I'm part of a 50-acre farm getting it down there on Saginaw, or whether you're getting it out of each parcel on each one of those subdivision ranch houses. So I don't know.
So it won't be an increase because it'll be a replacement, so it'll be the same they've been paying. What I'll say is quite a bit of the millage from Delta comes from commercial, not from the residents. And I'm in the process of actually figuring those exact same things out. Worked on getting some information on where was the millage generated from, residential compared to the commercial, and then getting the actual cost that we spent in Delta Township to compare. I looked at it quickly a few years ago, and at that time, it appeared that the residents were paying less compared to the cost of the Delta Township work. It's a lot more expensive to do Delta Township work than Howell County work, probably twice as much for the first millage. This millage, because we're not gonna go chip sealing somebody's subdivision, we'll get run out of town, obviously. So we're gonna have to do some other treatment that's about 3 times more expensive than a chip seal. So it's significantly more expensive to do the work in Delta Township. Yeah, the township itself generated more money than was spent there, I believe. I haven't gotten the numbers, but I believe that's true. But most of that money that was sent out, if not all the money, was commercial. It wasn't from the residents themselves. But I am working on that information.
But you realize what I'm saying?
Yes.
That the people
I heard the
who
same
have
thing.
the ranch houses and the 2-stories,
Yes,
even though we're on 80 and 100-foot lots,
yeah. But the guy with a ranch and a 2-story in Vermontville Township, it costs much less to do the work in front of his house compared to the guy in Delta Township. So,
how come?
because they got curb that we had to repair, drainage structures we had to repair, we had to adjust drainage structures, you got milling, all the things that you, in the rural, you put asphalt on it, put gravel shoulders down, and you're kind of good. In the subdivision, you got all these extra things that you have to do because it's an urban area. So,
I want to see those numbers,
Yep,
because
I'm
I'm
working
going to take those back to the people who already told me
yeah,
years ago.
yeah, and I'm probably gonna meet
2017
with
was a
those.
long time ago but I remember the speech. I can remember when each person gave me the speech.
Yep.
So, because we have had to suck up a special assignment to still have our police protection for an additional $4 million out of contract. So those people up there in Delta are well aware of it because they've all paid the property taxes now, pretty much. And that's equal to a 1.5 increase. Then you got the people that, now the Brown Drains people are coming here, but the Banks Drain people, I mean, they got leveled too. So we're getting it from every direction. And then we have the juvenile justice millage that has to come up for renewal to provide services. And then we have, what's our other one? I can't even remember, but we got another one. So I sent somebody over at Delta, text message, and said, how many more are you gonna load up on the property tax? I mean, because they know they're gonna get an increase coming in March. They're gonna have a new assessment, it's gonna go up. I mean, these people are not gonna keep forgetting. So, I mean, I know 1.5 is the same. I've been around here since we had Equalization Committee, and that was Leonard Peters, who thought we all need to learn how to do taxes.
Commissioner Toomey.
Thank you. I guess, are you looking for, I guess, administration and chair, are you looking for action on this today? Can we wait a little bit? Can we wait till the next meeting to get that additional information for Commissioner Wright, some of the additional information I was looking for, the other commissioners are looking for? Or are we looking to move this today? What's our timeline?
Well, I'd like to move it, but I'm not moving it, so I don't know, are you making a motion?
No, I'm just asking what if this materially affects us in any way in getting this to the ballot?
No, because it's going on the August ballot, so we do have some time.
We have until May.
Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So, I mean, I'm okay with, I'm okay with waiting one additional month so you can come up with those numbers that you said you're kind of in the middle of running. And I think it could, and I'm fine with doing that either in this committee or doing it at the full board. I'm fine either way. I'd kind of just leave that up to the rest of the voting members of this committee, seeing what they want to do. Because I'm going to hear it twice, right? But I don't want to spring it on the other members of the board that aren't on this committee, so.
I have a question, Matt. I know in previous discussions we had, when you go back and repave a road, then you were planning on coming back the next year and chip sealing it, right? To increase the longevity of a road? Are you going to, is that still the plan to do that, or have you not implemented that, or are you pushing that off?
So on our primaries, we got a 5-year chip seal, and so it's kind of when it fit, or when it comes to that year. So if the chip seal set up for next year and we pave it this year, then it's gonna get chip sealed next year. The chip seal set up from 3 years from now, then it'll get chip sealed then, so. We got about 70 miles of chip seal a year. It's about what our guys can handle fairly easily, so it's 70 miles every year, and whenever it gets there, that's the year it's getting done, whether it got paved this year or it hasn't been paid for 15 years.
Okay. Oh, yes, Ben.
So I just for conversational purposes, but so technically the 1.5 did suffer rollbacks over that period of time. So a 1.5 fully authorized would be a 0.036 increase. So just for precision purposes, I wanted to make sure that that's part of the dialogue. So it was originally authorized at 1.5, but it has suffered rollback. So if approved as put before you, it would be at 1.5 after getting approved by the citizens.
Okay. So I asked the board members, do I have a motion? All right, seeing none, then I move it that we put this on the August ballot.
We would move it to the full board, right? Okay.
It would go to Ways and Means first and then the board.
All right, seeing no second then.
I'll support it. I was waiting to see if we are gonna have a discussion on or having Matt come back with more numbers, but,
All right, open up for discussion.
I mean, that was the request of Matt, so is that what we wanna do?
So amend the motion?
Amend the motion, yeah, to, once he comes back with the additional figures that were requested.
I'm happy with that as well, Mr. Chair. I think I'd like to see just the additional figures, just to fully know. I mean, I just want to see the impact that the 1.5 mils is going to have more clearly on these charts and figures here. And then, maybe even at that time, we'll have a better idea of our distributions for the MTF and everything. I'm not holding my breath for it, but that'd be nice if we can get some more information from the state on what that's going to look like as well. So I think, waiting one more month, let's get all this information. Based on what people have paid in the past, what we think it's going to look like going forward, and I'd be happy to make a vote at that time.
So I got another question for you, Matt. Do you understand because there's been a lot of discussion up here about numbers, right? So do you understand the numbers that these board members are requesting?
So I will clarify, you're looking for the amount Delta Township has paid into the millage compared to the amount that has been spent by the millage in Delta Township. Yeah, yes.
And then,
I would also like to see a projection, please, on, to the best you can, with this millage replacement, how we think those road conditions are going to look at the end of that millage replacement versus if we do not do a millage replacement, what we think those road conditions are going to look like. And that pie chart would be fine. However you'd like to do it is totally fine with me. And if we get any additional information on how those state changes are going to impact our local road funding, you know, if we get that additional information, great. You know, I'd like to hear that too.
Let me add. So I'm not against maintenance.
Commissioner, can you let him finish taking notes first before we start hitting him with more stuff?
Okay.
There's yeah, thanks, because I'm trying to get the additional MTF, the Delta, and then there was one other thing. What was it? Oh, the marine service life.
Yeah, and but if you could please distinguish between, more so for the residents, right? If we show them, hey, if we do this replacement, here's what we think the road condition will look like versus no replacement, here's what we think what service we can provide.
Yeah, and that would be the intent for the documentation and stuff, so when we put it out, if this moves forward, to help explain that exact thing, but I can have it for you guys.
And it would just help me look at, you know, what we're getting for the tax dollars, so I appreciate it.
All right, Commissioner Wright.
Okay, I'm not against maintenance. I've never said to my Delta people that I'm against maintenance. I knew this was coming up. I don't have anybody unhappy in my subdivisions that I walk, so just letting you know. I mean, but it's the 1.5, I think, is the one that has to be clarified to the people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I put the motion on the floor, and then it was amended. So we're voting on the amended motion, right? So all in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and then we're gonna vote on the motion, the original motion, right? We amended the motion, now we're voting on the amended motion, right? So, correct? All right, all right, so all in favor of the road commission coming back next month with that additional information, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, thank you. Matt? You got your homework.
Yep.
Yeah.
Am I all set then?
Thank you.
I'll stick around for the meeting.
I mean, the drain commissioner's the next on here, so you might be able to,
Might be a while.
support him, because I don't think he prepared to speak all on the brown drain either. So we're moving on to item 9, Drain Commission. Morning, Marcus.
Okay, I submitted a proposed fee schedule change for the drain office. I included the current fee schedule, and then I included a question and answer to kind of cover, should have been the basics, but does anybody have any questions on my proposed changes?
Commissioner Toomey.
Yeah, Marcus, thank you. And Mr. Chair, thank you as well. I read your Q&A, right? And obviously, I like how you touch on the rising costs, right? That's true for the residents, it's true for our departments, and you say, hey, you know, we're looking at 35% price increase. And I didn't run this for all of them, but I go down and you say, okay, what are some examples of current fees versus new fees? And I look at the current fees for residential home build, the new fees for residential home build, going from $325 to $475. And I mean, that's a 46% increase over the 35% that you stated earlier. So are you saying that you have a more than 35% increase in a lot of your costs in places, or what are we looking at? I haven't run that for every fee change, but.
So for the residential, it did go over the 35%, but the 35% notation in the Q&A was discussing over the last 10 years, inflationary increases have been 35%, not that we're gonna increase our fees 35%.
So you're saying, but are you saying that our costs have gone up by much more than 35%?
The residential one did, the commercial one did not. So, no. They all differ, and there was, we didn't put the 35% number to all the numbers and just automatically increase everything 35%. No.
Commissioner Christensen and then Commissioner DeRosa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Marcus, for being here in the Drain Commissioner's spot again today. I have a question. I talked to a couple Realtor friends, and we were talking about the assessment search. And you're talking about a 30% or whatever increase. This is going from $7.50 to $30. That's a 400% increase. I'm confused because, as they told me, title companies do this during transfers and closing costs and that type of thing. So with that kind of increase, are they even going to start checking these? Are they going to pay that to check these? Are home buyers, when they get an assessment done, are their taxes going to be higher? Are they not going to, are they going to be aware of what's going on? This is where I focus back to months ago when I said we have to be transparent. And I know it's not you, but there's no transparency here. The other thing I question is the stormwater impact review. It's not even done in the drain office anymore, I'm told, so why did that fee increase by $100?
Okay, so I will start with the title search question. If you do a title search, which Richard just had a title search done on the property he sold in Delta Township, for that drain title search, they charge him $400. So our $30 fee that we're asking for to provide that information is not out of line. Sure, it's a substantial increase. I do realize that. But for a drain title search, and if you do your Google search on drain title searches, it says that it could range anywhere from $75 to $200 for a drain title search. So that's the reason I did the increase there.
And how long does that assessment search take to do?
I don't know, I don't perform that work. I couldn't tell you that.
Okay, thank you.
And, I'm sorry, what was the other question that you had?
I was just wondering, the stormwater impact review, that isn't done, I'm told, in the drain office anymore. It's handled by an outside source, so how did that fee increase by $100?
So, as far as I know, hasn't been done in the drain office for quite a while. It has to be done by an engineer. And that fee increased because we still have to pay those fees to the engineer that's doing that service.
Why does your office not handle that anymore?
Because we don't have any engineers in our office.
Thank you.
Commissioner DeRosa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Marcus, for being here. I'm looking at your fee schedule for the residential home build. When you do that, what services do you perform in that?
So for the residential home build, it depends on where the home is located. Say it's the average neighborhood that's got county drains running through it. Typically, that'll do an inspection at least once a month unless there's re-inspections that are results from fines or violations that are noticed. But typically, it's an inspection once a month to check make sure the controls are in place, make sure the streets are clean, make sure that the controls that they have within the catch basins of the drain are being cleaned and maintained as well. And that's basically what that entails.
Well, let me use my property as example. I got an acre and a half out in Eaton Township.
Okay.
So if I do a substantial renovation on my house, which I'm planning to do, will I have to have you review that?
It would depend.
On?
So the Eagle permit by rule is if you're disturbing over an acre or you are within 500 feet of a water body, whether that be a county drain, a stream, a lake, a wetland, or a flood zone. So if you're within that criteria and if you're disturbing more than an acre, then yes, you will. And then there's other criteria that we look at as well. I mean, you can be within 500 feet of a county drain, but you're up on top of the hill or you're down below? Are you across the street? Is your water not run towards that drain? I mean, there's lots of different things to look at with that. And that's where you would have to submit for building codes in order to get your license through them. They want to make sure that you've done the checks and balances and come to the drain office, and we review your site plan that you submit, and we'll let you know if you need to get a soil erosion permit or if you can proceed with a waiver.
I recall when I did my property, and this is back in the late 80s, the health department actually came out and took care of all that. I don't recall having any interaction with the drain commission. And then the last thing that, and I spoke with Eric Dybel at length about this one night, my property doesn't drain into a county drain. And Matt wasn't in charge, but that's thanks to the road commission that took the culvert out that flowed from east to west. And now my property drains in the corner of my brother's field. So does that mean that I would have to pay research to prove that my property is not on a county drain?
In order to get a soil erosion permit for that, is that what you're asking?
Well, yeah, because I know for a fact that my property does not drain into a county drain, but I would still have to pay this fee?
So again, the rules are in place that we follow, and there's a criteria to follow. So I would look at your property on our GIS mapping and see if you were within the parameters for the water body or water source, whether it be a county drain or a lake or a stream or any of that.
Okay,
And
so
then I
if
would
you
determine
determine,
if a permit was needed based off of the disturbance size.
so once that's determined, then I don't have to pay for that initial research, is that correct?
So currently, there is a $10 waiver fee, and that would increase to a $30 waiver fee. And that would be no different than the health department. When you go there for building, when they check your site plan and what you're gonna do, it's a $30 fee to check your plan to make sure that you're not gonna be too close to your well or too close to your septic.
Okay. All right, thank you, Matt, or Marcus. All right.
I've got
All
a
right, Matt,
brother
sorry,
named Matt,
Marcus.
so I'm used to hearing that.
Okay.
Marcus, I got a question for you about soil erosion, right? Does it have to be performed out of the Drain Commission's office?
The soil erosion program?
Yeah.
I know that other counties, I believe Clinton County, their building codes does it. I think everybody does it different.
And then, I'm asking, I mean, we're discussing fees here, we're bringing up, differences between, I got it, you said inflationary's been 35%, we got 40, we got a couple 100%. I know what the answer to this question is, but, I mean, there was no time analysis done on any of these to where we can afford our citizens some transparency to say, hey, it takes 3 hours to do this, that's why it's that charge? Have we done any of that?
Well, Dina does the title searches, and I think that probably is, I would assume it's a 30-minute task. I don't want to answer that and be certain on that.
I mean, but the answer is no, we haven't done it.
No, nope,
Time
not
analysis.
on that portion of it, nope.
Yeah, so, yes.
Unless
I'm in the middle of a thought, so go ahead, Commissioner Toomey.
Okay, I'll let you finish baking that thought. I guess my question was, you mentioned that some of these fees and services are contracted outside of the office. How many of these fees are people paying that we then turn around and use an outside service to complete the task?
On the current fee schedule, it would just be the stormwater impact review. And then sometimes we do the drain crossing inspection, sometimes we contract that out, it just depends on what our drain inspector's up to. If he's got the time to go out in the field and do that, or if he's got other projects he's working on.
I'm sorry, which category is that second one under?
It would be the drain crossing, the permit, over on the right side bottom.
Miscellaneous fees, I think.
Yep, for the miscellaneous.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
Yep.
And that's for the residential and commercial sometimes, or? I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Did you just say residential?
It would be residential and commercial. It's both.
Okay. Thank you.
I think I've completed that thought. I don't want to take action on this fee schedule at the moment. I'd actually like to have staff, right, look into this, right? And there's a few things I would like to look into, right? One, do we get any cost savings, meaning the taxpayers, right? Do we get any cost savings by having soil erosion done by construction codes, right? Because they're out there several times or whatever. I might be going down the wrong road on this, but I mean, it's worth taking a look at, right? And I really think that some time analysis needs to be done on the fee schedule. You know, I understand, Marcus, it may take a half hour for the admin person to do it. It may not. I mean, some of them might have to be raised, right? I mean, if we pay somebody, I'm just throwing numbers out here, so I don't think we pay anybody $100 an hour. But if we did, and it takes them 45 minutes and we're charging $10, well, then we need to adjust that, right? Or figure out a better solution through technology to reduce that.
Correct.
Right? So, that,
Mr. Chair?
yes.
Can I interrupt you for a second? So I've had conversations with the controller's office about these items in particular, and I've been reminded that everybody in your office has an hourly rate that has to be covered by the items that you're doing. So you want to make sure that you're covering your hourly rate, and you want to make sure that you're covering the technology and the tools and the resources you're using.
Yep.
So to charge $750 for something that maybe take a half hour doesn't cover any of our costs. It doesn't cover any technology that we have in the office.
Yep.
It doesn't cover the staff. It doesn't cover insurance and all that stuff.
Yep. I totally agree with you, but I think what we need to do is show our constituents that we're not gouging them. So it may be 10 minutes, you know, whatever the charge is, we just need to show our constituents that we're not making a profit off of raising fees, right? Credibility, transparency, that's where I'm at, right? So, yes, Commissioner Christensen.
I agree, as Marcus said as well, and as you said, that the staff needs to be paid accordingly and they need to be paid properly. With that being said, I did send out a text message after I asked my questions, and a title search and a drain assessment are two different things. I was asking about a drain assessment, and it literally takes 2 to 3 minutes. So $7.50 or a 400% increase to $30 for 2 to 3 minutes, that's a little excessive. So I agree with Chairman Barber that.
If you would like, you can come down and ask Dina those questions. She's there every day, and she'd be more than willing to facilitate your questions.
I'd like to meet with our drain commissioner, but that's
there every day?
been impossible. I've never seen him in the
He's
office.
not there every day, no, but he's there at least 2 times a week typically, so. And I do get a lot of questions about that. One thing that I always hear from you guys, and I've had a couple commissioners come in, and Scott Hansen, Ms. Prowright's been there. They've all come in. They've been more than helped, I would imagine. I think they would tell you the same thing. I hear a lot of you guys say that nobody helps with anything, nobody's ever there, but I've never seen any of you guys come in and verify that either, so.
I can tell you I did come in when I first took my chair last fall or last winter, and I've left my number, I've left voicemails, I've still never heard back from him. But that's not on you.
Thank you. And could you remind me really quick, you said earlier that we don't perform one of these services in-house due to lack of having an engineer. Which service was that again?
It's the stormwater impact review.
Okay, the stormwater impact review.
It went from 400 to 500.
Commissioner Drosh?
One second, Mr. Chair, sorry. Just give me 1 sec to write that down, and then I'll continue. Okay, and then you also said that occasionally the residential and commercial drain crossing permit you know, and once again, I know this isn't me harping on you, Marcus, right? I know you're trying to figure out what these fees need to be, but I'm just saying as a concept, I hate government agencies having to be reliant on outside services on whether we increase our prices or not. And so I just wanted to check as well, because you said occasionally we do the drain crossing permits, depending on our workload, you know, with an outside agency. Is that reflective in why these are increasing? Is that mainly because our external costs are increasing, or is that because our internal costs are increasing? Get what I'm saying? Like, are these increases coming because somebody from outside of Eaton County is increasing prices, or is this because our internal costs are increasing?
Everything that I've increased on here is because our internal cost.
Except for the stormwater impact review.
The stormwater impact review still goes through me. It still gets processed through me. There's still communication back and forth between myself, the engineer, and the developer doing the project. So there's increased fees for everything on here was based off of our internal process. It had nothing to do with anything external.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. How much do we rely on outside sources for redundancy? I mean, we have an erosion specialist, I think, in our office, but yet we use Spicer Group for a lot of things, including erosion. So is that because we're that short-staffed, we have to farm that out?
So Spicer Group doesn't do any soil erosion for the office. We've got a contractor, Tim Gill, and he does soil erosion inspections 1 day a week typically. If he's needed, he would do more, but he typically handles those inspections. And I will pick up the slack where I can if need be. When I'm not in office meetings and doing all the other stuff that I'm doing as well. Typically, there's a lot of inspection that gets handed out to engineering firms, and it's not just Spicer. I know that everyone wants to believe everything they read, but we have more than one engineering firm that we work with on a very regular basis.
Well, I attended the January 22nd meeting for the Brown Drain, obviously, and Spicer took over that meeting, and we heard very little from you and nothing from our drain commissioner. But I just thought, you know, I would rather hear from the people that we employ rather than some outside firm. I didn't mind the fact that they contributed to the meeting. Certainly, they had a nice PowerPoint presentation, but it seems to me that they've kind of taken over some of the duties of this Drain Commission office to the point where we almost have to have them in here so we can get answers to questions that we're not getting anywhere else. So just a thought, Marcus.
And to that, I understand what you're saying, but it's hard it makes a lot more sense for the person designing the project to answer the questions than go through me, and then I have to ask, what do you think? What is it? How do you guys design this? They're the engineer, they designed it, that's why they answered the questions. But that meeting also was not a drain commission meeting. That was a meeting that was set up by Mr. Hanson.
Well, I understand that, yes. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so,
Yeah, if I could clarify, because I believe a motion's on the floor that's being discussed, correct?
I believe I said motion.
All right. So these are the notes I've taken. Oh, I don't, sorry.
What's up? No, no. We went straight into some more.
Discussions.
So, yeah. Well,
I will
actually, it
support
went to
that.
you. Yeah, so you had the opportunity, but you didn't, so. But
I
I'm
wanna
seeking
make
a
sure.
second, so let.
Commissioner Christensen did.
I said I will support that.
Oh, okay, my bad. Clarify.
And I just want to make sure, so, and I kind of pulled this from everybody's comments. So you would like staff from the controller's office to do an analysis of, one, is there a cost savings opportunity if this work was performed elsewhere? Construction codes, which would be something we'd have to have a legal review, percent changes, time analysis, and notes on what is currently done, if it's contracted in-house or not. And then, yeah, and then there are other pieces, but, so that would be the package of what you would like us to look at.
I would, and.
Okay.
And I truly think, I mean, we've had multiple discussions
Historically.
when we were in the budget process and in the Ways and Means Committee about that all the departments need to do a time analysis. And I understand it takes a lot of time to do that. However, that's a way for us as this body of government to regain trust of our citizens and our taxpayers. So that way, you know, the points that Commissioner Wright were bringing up about the roads, you know, like we build trust with them, then they're more apt to, you know, understand or know and have better questions for us and that we can ask, right? So that was my motion this second, and then I sort of grandstanded. So,
As long as it's okay, what we could do is maybe make it a monthly update. We come back to provide it. It will probably take at least a couple months for us to work through that, as long as that's agreeable expectation-wise. We may not have it ready for next meeting. but
Yes,
If that's good.
yes.
Okay, okay. We'll provide monthly
Wait,
updates.
one question for you, Marcus. Well, a question and a statement. Do you need this by next month? Do you need this to go to the Ways and Means meeting on Friday to approve this fee schedule?
And according to the Q&A that I sent in, we wanted to implement the new fee schedule by April 1st because right now there's a current process where the winter months of December, January, February, and March are essentially a free month, the free 4-month period. So in April, when that ends, we wanted to implement the new fee schedule.
Okay, well, I think we're going to have to hold off of implementing the fee schedule, unfortunately, if we move it back. So, yes, Commissioner Toomey.
On here, I'm sorry, I was under the impression on the bottom of this page that it would go into effect October 1st of '26 as currently proposed?
No.
That's what it says on the document.
Scroll up.
FAQ, I think it says April 1st.
On the fee schedule, this is April 1st. That was,
Oh, that was last revised, maybe. Is that what you're, no.
It says on the bottom of the first page, it says effective October 1st, 2026.
yeah, and I see what you're talking about.
On
Yep,
the drain
I see that.
proposed fees.
That didn't get changed. I apologize for that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my last comment, you do have a lot of formatting issues on this fee schedule that need to be fixed before it goes to the public also.
I do agree with that. I saw on the single and duplex residents under category 2, I thought that was $7,500 at first, and I was like, my God.
Agree. And if we make that simple mistake, then the public's gonna make it also, right? Okay, so I got a motion and a second on the floor. Ben is looking like he's not ready to tackle this task, but,
We'll get it done.
okay. So,
Work takes time.
all in favor, signify with aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. I know that's not what you wanted, Marcus, but that's what you got. I do have a question.
You don't get anywhere without trying though, right?
No, hey, I can't swear. I almost swore, so, yeah. Oh, this is my one time to ask you a question, and it just ran away. The question just ran away. Oh, no. We had some citizens come up and do public comment, right? Talking about the brown drain, all right? So, I'm not gonna ask you about the brown drain. What I'm gonna ask you about is we had a couple citizens bring up the issue of a petition was started, and either they believed or the wording on it said maintenance and/or construction, right? And then maintenance was done, okay? And now we're talking about basically reconstructing the drain, a portion of the drain, right? So they brought up that they believe that petition should be basically struck as dead, right? Because there was work performed on it since the original petition was initiated. So how would they go about, I mean, do they got to sue the drain office? What do they got to do? Because, I mean, ultimately is the drain commissioner who's ultimate responsible or deciding factor, right?
Yes, to determine if that happens or doesn't happen, yep.
So they would have to sue the drain office because this board or the Board of Commissioners can't can't force the drain commissioner to come to that decision. So they would probably have to sue the drain commission to get that, a meeting or that
So-
effect.
In regards to the Brown Drain, every resident was sent a notice that said the current petition project is gonna be on hold, and once the road project goes through, we will reevaluate this and determine if the petition even needs to go through.
Yeah.
So at this point, the petition isn't gonna be happening anytime soon. It would be probably another couple years. When will you guys be done, Matt?
Hopefully by next June.
Okay. So there's at least 2 years out on that, and it's been spoke of multiple times that this more than likely will handle the issue with the road flooding, which is why I think everyone thinks that the petition was initially initiated.
I just want this dialogue, right? So people can reference or see it or hear it, right? Or be in the room currently and hear what if, right? So the initial, the petition was done in 2016, right?
I
Or
believe that was the date.
thereabouts, right? So it's 2026. We're talking approximately 2 years, you know, if everything goes okay with the road, right? It's currently on hold until the road is complete and that we can do a proper evaluation to ensure or to see if that fixes the issue. I mean, so we're looking at 12, 13 years that the petition was started till we decide if we was gonna do the project. So can you educate me?
Yep.
Right? Is there a time limit? You know, is it like 15 years or is it just the drain commissioner's prerogative how long that petition can stay open?
I don't know the exact answer on that. I could get you that information. But part of the reason this has drug out so long is because there has been a coordinated effort with the road commission. And the road commission was trying to secure federal funding to pay for their portion of the project.
Yes.
Which took quite a bit of time. So there was engineering done on the drain office's side and everything was ready. But there's that final coordination where the drain office and the road commission had to come together on the 5-point crossing portion of it.
Yeah.
So there has been definitely an extended amount of time on this. They don't typically turn into this. I'd say generally it's a lot quicker than 10 years.
Typically, because there's a drain in my district that's been 10 years. But, I mean, so how long can the drain commissioner keep this petition alive? I'm just not saying the Brown drain, I'm just saying any petition, how long can they keep?
I don't want to pull a number out of the air and tell you one thing, but I can look up that information and get back with you if you like.
I just appreciate it, because
Yeah.
I'm curious for my, Commissioner Shaver.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Marcus, for being here. I agree with the sentiment. I wish we were able to get questions answered from the drain commissioner, but I'm glad that you're here. As you might have heard referenced in discussion with Mr. Hannes from the Road Commission, we have some bridges out in District 1 that it seems like cooperation from the Drain Commission is going to be necessary in order to provide the most cost-effective remedies for those structures. Is that going to be something, I know you can't speak on behalf of the Drain Commissioner, but you're representing their office today. Is that something we can expect cooperation from the Drain Commission on to be able to get some of these service areas restored?
So I know Richard has mentioned a conversation he had with you where you were looking for help from the drain office on replacing bridges, and the drain office does not replace bridges. It's not our jurisdiction. It'd be asking the butcher to cut your dog's hair. I mean, it's just-
These, to be clear, these aren't all bridges.
And on the areas that, like Matt spoke of, where sizing is needed and resizing through Eagle, absolutely. All Matt has to do is reach out and say, will you guys do a sizing for this culvert? We want to replace it. We want to make sure we're putting it in the right size. And I've seen those emails multiple times, and there's always a response, and there's always coordination there.
Excellent. I'm new. I'm not assuming they're not. I just, representing my constituents there, and they, even for safety issues, are looking to get some improvement and movement in that corridor there.
Yep.
Where they're severely limited. So, thank you. Next question is, because I'm not aware of this, but I understand there's a lot of subcontracting within government, and not just in the Drain Commission. But how many drain commissions they have an engineer on staff like the road commission would, so that there wouldn't be so much subcontracting that's happening in the areas that were described in the fee schedule today, as well as some of the other areas that subcontract is being used?
I could not answer that for you. The only answer I could give you is Ingham County Drain Office has 26 full-time staff members. And they have engineers on staff. They've got multiple deputy drain commissioners. And the Eaton County Drain Office has 3 full-time employees, plus the drain commissioner. So everyone's different. Everyone runs their show different. And it's, a lot of it comes down to funding and staffing, which again is a funding thing, so.
Thank you.
Commissioner Christensen.
Thank you. I'm going to kind of piggyback off your question, and I just have another question on that. You had talked about the petition, and I know we're in 2026 and we're dealing with drain codes from the 50s. When you brought, I believe it was Spicer with you one time, the gal stood up there and she said, well, we only need 5 signatures on a petition to move forward, and then we stop asking constituents and stop door knocking. Well, again, I understand that's code. It's not a fair code, but it's code, and we're fighting hard to get things changed. Would that be the protocol that you will take when you go back to these people when the road commission's done out there, if they run a new petition? I mean, are you gonna knock 5 doors and call it good?
So there would be no need to knock on any more. There is already an active petition in place. There's no knocking needed. The petition has been approved by the BOD and deemed necessary, and there's no door knocking needed at that point.
Even though that petition was outside of the drain area? Or I'm,
The person that started it was, and then Bob Robinson, who was the treasurer, certified that petition. And what he did was he goes through and counts the people in there, and he was the treasurer. He certifies the petition. That's how that works. Has nothing to do with our office certifying it.
then I'm very curious about your question for the time length.
Just to clarify, Ben went and printed it off, and it states 5 years, and then basically after 5 years, it's up to the drain commissioner. He's the final, and then Commissioner Mott, did you have a question?
I don't have a question, I have a statement.
Okay, go ahead.
And I hope Richard's watching. There's things you can do, and there's things you should do. And I'm gonna let you know, and to the residents, that you should stop this petition and restart one if need be. It's not right. So Richard, if you're watching, I hope you make that decision. Because this is, like you said, it's gonna be going on over 10 years. And a lot has changed, prices have changed. I would just start a whole new process if you need to. That's all I got to say.
It may seem hostile, Marcus, but I do appreciate, and I'm sure the board here do appreciate you coming and answering questions for us, right? And it may seem hostile, and I heard it in your voice, you know, it raised up a little bit, but it's totally understandable, right? And I would just want to reiterate, I do appreciate you coming to and asking, even though we didn't give you what you wanted. So that means you'll probably be back next month, but.
Just keep knocking, right?
All right,
I
so.
appreciate everyone's time though, and again, I would love to see you guys down in the drain office asking questions. I would love to have communications about this particular schedule with you and bounce ideas back and forth. That would be great. I would be more than open to that, so.
All right, thank you very much, Marcus.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, Mr. Hanson, or excuse me, Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Marcus, for being here today. And I appreciate you and your staff being at the meeting that I held in February to take and get information on the Brown Drain. After a lot of review, and I'm not in agreement with what is being proposed by far, but looking at an economic value of it, it doesn't make sense for most of us in that district, the Brown Drain District, that the assessment would be horrendous for all the residents. And of course, if the road commission is able to put in the culvert and everything, that would probably handle the water that is coming down. But of course, a lot of the problem is the Battle Creek River still being plugged up. I don't know what can be done to finish cleaning that out. I don't think probably right now, if you put a canoe in it out here on South Main at the bridge, that you would probably be able to get through a lot of area in a canoe. So that problem needs to be addressed really before any drain improvement on the Brown Drain, because I think the Brown Drain would work adequately if the river wasn't backed up for that. So I don't know what can be done to take and get that river cleaned out the rest of the way. And I think the Army Corps of Engineers was mentioned earlier during the road report to take and, look into something like that. But as it is right now, I am against the proposal because it just isn't going to help my property. If I had an assessment of $2,000 to $7,000 a year for payment, there's no way that it's going to be economically feasible for me and many of the others that are in the district to recover any of those funds that would be charged against us. And, sure, I've got water, areas that would be considered a swamp area now in my area. And yet the drain proposal would only mean more water coming down on my property by having larger drain tile, because I'm near the bottom. Jerry Fraser is really at the very bottom of the area. And of course, a lot of the land that we used to farm is, we're not able to farm anymore. And also down along the river and I've talked to several people that remember the one farmer that used to farm that area. And of course, now it's all considered wetland. So until we can get EPA to change that condition and clean out the river to make it feasible for everyone to live with, that we just, the project isn't really needed. And like you mentioned, 5 years, that there should be a time limit on that. And so I would, like Jim was mentioning, that would urge the Drain Commissioner to completely dissolve this proposal. Thank you.
And I think I can have John put that on the maintenance notes to go out there and check on areas that need to be cleaned up on the Battle Creek. That is something that is more than doable, and take care of that. I know I spoke with you also about the flood waters that happen on all the rivers. It's not an everyday thing. It's not a once a month thing. It's a few times a year for the thaw, for big storm events. Unfortunately, it does have greater impacts in certain areas. And, we can do the best we can to keep that river waterway clear and clean, but there's only so much you can do to control nature as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Marcus. At this time, I'd like to call a 10-minute recess. We'll be back at 11:15. All right, I thank you all for the quick recess. We have some people had to leave. We also have some commissioners that are got other commitments here very shortly. So the next up is construction codes, item 10.
Good morning. Unfortunately, Chris Garrison, as our building official and electrical inspector, had to get out in the field to do his electrical inspections to keep his commitment to your constituents. Included in our Public Works and Planning report, you have a memorandum from Mr. Garrison regarding the festival fees. I believe you also have an attachment from that Mr. Garrison and Ben Dawson worked on. As far as our actual report, staff met with the City of Grand Ledge and the City of Grand Ledge Fire Department. Apparently, the City of Grand Ledge Fire Department is not an actual city-owned fire department, it's just by name. So working with them to figure out the best way to move forward and help them do their enforcements through the fire code and work with plan reviews and things of that nature, because there are some larger projects coming up within the City of Grand Ledge, such as condominiums, commercial developments, and apartment complexes. So in regards, Mr. Garrison did ask me to mention, he did hear the conversation between Mr. Marcus Service and this board, and Mr. Garrison said that he is willing to take on any responsibilities regarding soil erosion, or at least review it with the controller's office that this board deems necessary.
Okay, so I guess we have the one action item is the festival fees. Because you don't want to add anything else for the report, right?
No.
Okay, so 10B is the festival fee waiver. Is this? That's the, okay, yep, that's the proposal right there. So if I recall from last month, we had discussed waiving the electrical fees, right? And the the permitting fees, right?
Safety fees associated with festivals. Yep.
With festivals, and then it was added into discussion, and the motion was made to add in nonprofits too, or?
Restricting it to nonprofit entities, yes.
Okay, nonprofit festivals and.
Yep. And so what was done, so staff went together and put how many permit fees were received in 2025, because we had talked about modeling this as the board appropriating general fund money to offset the cost of those fees, because shouldn't get resolved within construction codes funding. Other fees shouldn't pay for other people to have their fees waived. It's an economic priority that the board wants to do. That's what we suggested. So 2,750 was the fees for last season. The proposal that we put together as we try to wrap our hands around it would be something where the levy of managing how many people participate, just do a blanket appropriation of 3,000. Our suggestion was to leave it at that amount and not differentiate between nonprofit entities and for-profit. If the board wanted to keep that mechanism in there to make it easier to administrate, rather than us checking the validity of each organization, we would just have an affidavit that they sign committing that they are a nonprofit. And if we ever get a report otherwise and we find out that they fraudulently submitted that, they're just barred from the program for at least 2 years. So that'd be a way to do it. But keeping in mind, if we're doing that, staff would then have to, potentially police it. But if we just did the 3,000, it'd cover all of our festivals. We do it on a first come, first served basis. And I think a discussion we would have to have is, some festivals occur later in the year, right? So if there's a pot of money of 3,000, what's the earliest a group could get to you to submit? So those are things we'd like to work out through the policy, just to make sure somebody who does something in October or September didn't miss out just because they only had, 3 months to compete for the money. Yeah. So I think we can make it happen. We tried to do a matrix to include when inspections are applicable, and we tried to wrap our head around that. Is it a head count? You know, anything with more than 35 people, or, and it came back to if it's a event on public property, whether it's commercial, non-commercial, and that could cover like a public event where entry's free or charged, but their vendors are available, but you have to pay whether or not you want the snow cone or the cotton candy you're paying, and that would require an inspection. If it's a private event, still on public property, whether commercial or non, if there's no economic activity associated with it or money required, then it's a personal non-business. It would still require an inspection because it's on public property. The private property for public or private events, commercial, non-commercial, those would not require it. However, if somebody wanted us to come out and do an inspection, say there's a wedding on their home, the department would be willing to do that, but they wouldn't be obligated to do so because it's a private event and private property. Yeah, so I mean, we welcome more feedback from the board, but wanted to give you an idea of what a policy looks like that we think is sustainable. And
Just to clarify, though,
Yep.
the 3,000 is to cover our costs for the labor that that department is using to facilitate those permits and inspections.
Correct. Yep.
Commissioner Toomey?
This would be sent to Ways and Means, right?
It would.
Commissioner DeRosa?
To Ben's point, what constitutes, I mean, I understand public property for a carnival event. What would constitute private property? An individual's own home property?
I believe so. I wish Chris was here, but yes, I believe so.
That would be correct.
Okay, so anything that is in a city or the fairgrounds or anything like that would be considered public property at that point?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And apologies, I said the Chris comment because he and I were the one that talked through the matrix. Thank you, Brandy. I'm really glad you're here too.
So, Ben and Brandy, I mean, basically what you're asking us to do is to motion this to go to Ways and Means, or what are you asking for?
I will be honest, the administrative, if this is a priority the board would like to do, that you'd motion $3,000 a year, first come, first served basis, and not differentiate between profit and nonprofit, and it go to Ways.
Okay.
If it was adopted like that, we would just amend this proposal, taking the nonprofit focus out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I just still have issues with profit and nonprofit and the cost of verifying, and if we don't verify, we let them self-verify. And then, you know, something goes by and 2 years later, somebody comes and says, hey, yeah, we got a penalty on them, but once again, due to our laxed, you know, our verification method, we allowed fraud to happen. You know, I mean,
right.
I'm just saying is that's how somebody could look at this from the outside, right? That
And if
your
you're
tax dollars went to, I mean, that was opening up for fraud.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking a small amount, I'm not millions of dollars, but just a small amount. I mean, that's my concern. I stated that last month. So, I mean, it depends on what this board wants to do, because I'm against it, but yes, Commissioner Schraber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is not my committee, so thank you for the privilege for speaking. I'm not as concerned personally about the nonprofit versus profit. If we look at this from an microeconomic stimulus standpoint in the county, if these events are happening for public benefit and they're drawing, which they are, and they're drawing visitors from across the county as well as the region, there is, I'm not able to measure it, but there's a significant amount of dollars that are spent in Eaton County associated with these events and people traveling to these events. And I remember several meetings ago, Commissioner DeRosa talking about ways that we could maybe find for microeconomic stimulus. And it would be my submission to this committee that this could be one of those such ways. So I would agree, whatever, whatever burdens that we could take off of the administration. In that way, just understanding that these events that are happening, the reason why there would be such appropriation would be using a small amount of dollars to help take burdens off of these organizations that are putting on these events. I've attended several of their meetings. They're very grassroots, and thankful for them, carrying on these events. I think what we can do as the county board is look at this as that economic stimulus. I know what's happening, whether it's happening in Vermontville, here in the center of county in Charlotte, or some other area, that there is a significant economic benefit to those areas, as well as the heritage that we have in the county of some of these long-term events. And so it would be my hope that we could look as a board at these events as those microeconomic stimuli and move forward in that way. Thank you.
And to add to that, this would be a year one, but this would be part of the annual appropriations, right? So every budget, you'd have to reauthorize another 3,000, or the department might say, hey, we had 2 that couldn't make it, but are interested in next year, so we're proposing 3,500. So this would not be a one and done. This just adopts a framework, and then every year through the budget, you all would authorize the pot of general fund to make it possible for the stimulus.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner DeRosa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the information, Ben. Randy, when we do an inspection on a festival, and it doesn't matter which one we're talking about here, but we'll use the Eaton County Fair as an example. If there's a violation, what happens when there's a violation?
The violation is required to be corrected, and Mr. Garrison goes back out either that day or the next day. He gives each entity, depending on the violation, a certain time frame to make the correction. Violations that I have witnessed are trip hazards, electrical panels, the temporary ones not being installed or wired correctly, electrical hookups to vendor booths not being correct, fire extinguishers for food vendors not being properly secured, electrical cords going from vendors to outlets being frayed, things of that nature. So there's always the opportunity. Typically, what Mr. Garrison does is he'll go through the festival, point out the violation, speak with the person that would be most likely able to correct that, and have the conversation with them. How soon can you have it corrected? If it's corrected before he leaves that day, he'll go back and take a look. If it's not, he'll give them a time frame of, I'll be back at this time on this day to review it. The 3-day festivals, he usually starts inspecting on Thursdays, because most 3-day festivals start setting up on Thursdays. That allows for a more comprehensive review of the entire festival. He's not trying to do everything at once in one inspection. Keep in mind, the festival inspections are done during his normal inspections as well. So he has to fit them in.
So when, all we're looking for then, when there's a violation, is a correction. There's no fine, no penalty, nothing like that?
No.
Does there ever come a time during this process that there is a fine or penalty levied?
No, he has also never shut down a festival. He has
Okay.
always worked
But-
with the festival to ensure that it continues as planned and as scheduled, and the corrections are made.
Okay, but there is that possibility that a ride or something could be shut down because of a violation?
We don't inspect the rides. The rides actually.
Well, okay, whatever we're
What he checks
inspecting.
for on the rides is that they have their annual state certification. Each ride actually gets a tag from the state inspector. So that's the only thing. As he's checking the electrical connections to it, as they're set up throughout the year at these festivals, he'll make sure that the ride has that annual inspection certification from the state.
Okay, so we don't do anything that would bring revenue back into this program should we pass this. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, what's the board want to do? I mean, I already stated my position, so, I mean, I'm not gonna make a motion to deny it. So, I mean, it's up to the board, because I'm against it, so.
And our alternative to this proposal is what then? To continue on as the way we've been doing it?
One proposal that was floated was the idea of doing like a delayed implementation of these individual fees, I believe. So then that way the groups could to have a year to adjust their budgets accordingly, so that way it wouldn't catch them off guard. I think that was one item that was discussed. It wasn't part of what we were directed to do, but.
I hesitate to put this forth because I know what they're gonna call me after I say this, but anyway. It has nothing to do with greed or my lineage. But would it be possible to do it on a percentage basis after the event has been completed? So that we say, okay, we're gonna have a schedule for inspection and reinspection. And if you have, say it results in a 1 or 1.5 or 2% revenue fee, would that be a possibility for some of these groups? Or would no way to enforce that?
So I'm trying to think, so an event that has 50 people versus an event that has 5,000 people, they're paying a little proportional based on the amount of economic activity.
Yeah.
So first, you'd have to be able to, one, independently verify that economic activity or the head count. So if we're not there as staff, we won't know, so we'd be relying on information from the events themselves. It would just be staff time. So if it's a $3,000 permit program, but we overly build out a structure to where we end up spending $700 to $800 in administrative time on top of the $3,000 that we already spend in the inspections, you're just adding more to, you know, I don't know what you would get out of it, if I was being honest. So my recommendation would probably be keep it as simple as possible, so it's as easy to manage as possible, and the focus is economic development within our communities, if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, the fee schedule adopted did take into consideration, it's $100 per inspection, because there's the first day, and then there's coming out afterwards to make sure it's still in compliance, and then the $50 for processing it in-house in the office. So this is one where the time analysis was built right into it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I do not mind the perspective of, of this being some sort of microeconomic development program, microeconomic grant, whatever you want to call it. You know, however, that being said, I don't know if this is my favorite way of doing it. You know, I think there's a lot of very great festivals or programs or whatever you want to call it that operate within the county, and I think there's a lot of really deserving people that would want to get some sort of help from the county that do bring a lot to the community, right? I can say even earlier in the year, I was really interested in getting a couple $1,000s for our food banks when they were struggling, right? I mean, like, that, there are a lot of things that I feel like, if we want to call them microeconomic development or micro grants or whatever we want to call them, I know the county can't do much as it is because we don't have a lot of money. But, you know, I think that if we're going to do something like this, I'd like to see it, us really think about where we should be investing these dollars, because we're not getting them back. This is grant money, basically. This is going out the door. And so, you know, I guess I'm not entirely opposed to this, Commissioner Shaver, in terms of, I think that it does bring valuable economic development. But I don't think I'm comfortable with it until we can have a full conversation about what that looks like in our county as a whole, and not just this microcosm or microcosm of events. So that's where I'm at. I'm not ready to vote on it today.
Seeing no further discussion. Okay, then it dies. All right.
So just to clarify for staff, they're supposed to continue as they are and charge the fee.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, while we're
Commissioner Doohan?
While we're still on the topic, I know you have a motion there that died, but I guess I would still leave that up to you. I did express at the previous meeting, I'm not opposed to a phase-in of the fees that are currently there, but I'll leave that up to the other commissioners on if they are interested in that at all. I don't think that's unreasonable. And I know that specifically the Maple Syrup Festival expressed that they didn't realize the fees would increase so much, and it's a lot for them to get around in a short time period. So I will defer to those who worked more closely with the festival on you know, how that impact will be and if this helps or not on this deferred fee implementation. So I'll leave it there.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner Toomey. Ben, do you have something to say? If not, we're moving on.
I would say, I would imagine that the festivals would appreciate probably a one-year relief so that they could amend their budgets going into future years. So, but that's just because I was in that meeting, so I would say. Yep.
I mean, I was there at the last meeting, this meeting, but I know that there's been talks outside of it.
Yep, I think at a minimum, that would probably be something that would be helpful for them. Because when they settle up at the end of their, and they're making decisions about what to do with whatever revenue they generated, they do it based on what their expectations for the next year are. So that would probably be a reasonable adjustment to give them time and others time to evaluate their finances for future festivals.
All right, I'll make that motion. We'll see if there's a second.
Support.
Commissioner, I got the motion and support, Commissioner.
That was what I was gonna say, so.
Okay. All right, so I have a
What
motion.
percentage was can you remind me what percentage was recommended at the previous meeting for the phase-in?
So I think, again, keep it simple, just do a one-year reversion to the original fee schedule, and then the updated 250 would take effect in the following, and we would pick a date, but you'd essentially give a year. Should we base it on a calendar year, Brandy, or our fiscal year?
I think the fiscal year is the most responsible thing to do. And when you say revert, are you referring to reverting back to the fee schedule prior to the adoption last year?
Correct, for
Perfect.
1 year.
That gives staff direction to go.
Yeah, and then we can,
Financially, is that all appropriate?
about
Whatever the board likes.
$2,750. Yeah.
How much is it, Ben?
$2,750, then we would have to calculate the old fee revenue minus that, so it'd probably be like $1,800, $1,500.
Okay.
We can do that math before Ways, because this will still go to Ways and Means.
That's a Ways and Means problem.
Yep.
Ways and Means tomorrow,
Yeah.
Friday.
Oh my
Friday.
gosh,
Yeah.
I'm still getting used to our new schedule.
Okay. Does that clarify for you?
Yep, that's my motion. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
But yes,
Can I ask you?
yes,
So, how
Commissioner.
much, I can't remember last month. How much was the fee schedule that we would have been charging like the Maple?
I want to say in previous years, the total permit fee, which included the inspection, was $84.
84? Okay. I was
And
with a
that's
small
without- That's not off,
nonprofit.
that's just off the top of my head.
Okay. I was with a small nonprofit director, and so big fees are a lot to plan for. $84 I can plan for. You know what I mean? So as long as it's reasonable. If you had told me $250 or something, no.
All right, so we have the motion on the floor to revert back to 2025 or 2024 rate
Correct.
fees for those, for 1 year for those festivals. And it is the fiscal year, not the calendar year.
Fiscal year, correct.
Okay, so that was the motion on the floor, right? I had a second. Okay. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. All right, it carries. Okay. Moving on to 11. Recycling.
Yep, so just real quick, planning and zoning update. I did get a hold of Jason Ball. He's the consultant that we contracted with to help the townships with developing their joint planning commission. They had a training on the 15th. They continue to work to get that master plan in place and use an interim ordinance. So by using an interim ordinance, it makes the process move a little faster. That's to ensure that they'll all be ready to go on June 30th, and then they'll continue to work after that to adopt a full ordinance. So that's kind of where that process is at right now. You haven't heard anything on that in a couple months, so I wanted to let you know that they definitely are still working and still are on track to meet that deadline.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair?
Oh, yes.
I did talk with Doug Thering, Supervisor, Walton Township, last night. their attorney says they're on schedule to be organized by May 4th. Hopefully, that'll give them time to get up and running by June 30th and get all their members in place that they want to do. So they're looking good.
Thank you. Thanks for that update.
There is one action item in resource recovery. It is a memorandum of understanding. Can you scroll to that? It's with the Village of Mulligan. This is something that Jared and Commissioner Shaver talked about last month. So we're going to be taking some products from the Village of Mulligan and processing them at the Sunfield Recycling Center. So that's what this MOU is, and that is an action item.
Okay. You got anything else to add?
Would you like me to go through my report?
I would prefer a very abbreviated report because many of us have to leave very quickly.
Yes, sir. I will. Highlights from the report this morning. Importantly, we do the solid waste ordinance licensing and reporting. And currently, we have everybody in compliance except for Republic Services and Liberty Environmental. We do have communications with Republic Services. So we're not requesting, we're not going to be requesting any action, but if Liberty Environmental continues to be in non-compliance, next month we will be asking for a hearing from this committee. Beyond that, we're still waiting on the grant for the scrap tire for our events, and we'll be notifying the committee here when we get that. Sunfield Recycling Center, as you mentioned, Claudine, we do have the MOU, so we've been meeting with the village and working through some of our operational and cost analysis for the relationship, which you will find in the MOU, and I'm happy to answer any questions about that. As far as our recycling program, we are going to be launching in the next month or two the mobile electronics program and the food waste composting program, which is part of our special recovery programs here in the department. And in the report, there is a schedule there. So commissioners, if we are in your community and you want to promote electronics collection in your community, we'd be happy to take everything your residents can bring us. And we'll be publishing that on social media and through other channels. You'll see there's a flex. We're in each of these communities for twice. And then we do have some flex options. And we were looking at county parks, municipal recycling centers, and municipal libraries. So please contact the department if you have any ideas on if we could bring the trailer to your community. And let's see. In addition, a part of our special recovery programs, an update, we are the only place in Michigan that do agricultural plastic recycling. We are getting requests from conservation districts across Michigan to process their agricultural film plastics, which we do charge for. And so the department was in discussions with Ben Dawson and Claudine Williams about the fee schedule and what we charge in county and maybe adding an out county charge for that service that we're providing other counties. We have more education dates performed or in our schedule. And finally, the materials management plan. We're meeting today at 3 o'clock. I will be giving a big report on updates of a snapshot of where we are in the county in terms of recycling access, recycling rates, recycling participation rates, and what gaps we have in data and numbers. And if you're not going to be attending that meeting, Eaton County is in really good shape. We do a really great job, all of our communities here, with recycling. And additionally, we're looking at doing our food waste program with the Conservation District. So I've been meeting with the Conservation District here and developing plans for the food waste program. And finally, I'm going to be meeting with Chris Griffith and hopefully Ryan Wilkinson in the next month to do an analysis of construction and demolition debris and emergency preparedness and where those materials are going to go. So if you remember, we had the tornado, lots of debris, not a lot of direction on where a lot of that debris went. So hopefully we'll be working together with the waste haulers, Hammond Farms, and emergency management to get a good plan together for the county. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you for that report. We have that memorandum of understanding. Do we need to move this?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I go ahead and move it. All right, I got a motion of support. Do we have any further discussion on it? Okay. All in favor, signify with aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Jared, we still have a meeting this afternoon?
Yes, 3 o'clock.
Thank you.
All right, Claudine, it looks like you're up because you're pretty much
yeah.
tackling everything else.
Yeah, apologies from Ethan. He had to leave to get to another meeting. So his report is in the packet. I'm happy to answer any questions about it. We made the final submission of the fisheries grant. He continues to meet with forestry on logging. We had our attorneys review that contract, looking at what potential grant opportunities there may be to apply for the DNR Trust Fund this year as that grant opening what started last week or the week before. There's a schedule of the events and the programming updates, and then the charts that he has in there for all of the park usage for the cameras that are set up on the trails.
I have a question for you. When does the window open up for the like the communities, park grant?
Yeah, we've met on that. Well, Ethan and I have talked over email on that and have set up a meeting to talk about that in the last week of February. Last year, those came out in March and had a return date, I think, of the end of April, and then grant awards were done by the board in June for a July 1st start date, if memory serves correct.
All right, so that way the communities can be,
They can start working on it.
I mean,
yeah.
you're anticipating it, the window being the same, correct? Yep. Okay.
Yep, within a few days here or there, yep.
Yeah.
So, Claudine,
Yes, Commissioner.
then will you, at the first meeting, determine the amount that's going to be available for the different grant projects that people would be asking for?
Historically, the amount that the board has set aside for that is $400,000. That's what it's been, except for the first year. We gave $600,000, I believe, because there were a couple really good projects that we wanted to move. But the second and third year, it was $400,000. This will be the fourth year. So I wouldn't anticipate that number changing unless Ways and Means has a desire to increase that or decrease it for any reason.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions for parks, thank you very much for that report. And the next report you have is veterans.
Yeah, so we're trying to do quarterly reports for Veteran Services. Tom Lewis, the Veteran Service Officer, is here today. This report is the quarterly report we submit to the state of Michigan for the County Veteran Services Fund grant that we get from them. So Tom can answer any questions about this if you want him to briefly describe what he does in the office or anything like that. He is here.
I mean, you briefly tell us whatever you want to tell us.
Okay, I was going to say that back to you. I thought you had specific questions, but I can just give you a rundown of, it's pretty long because we do a lot of things. But in terms of the primary benefits that we oversee in Eaton County, of course, not outside of Eaton County, I guess the most voluminous benefit would be the service-related disability compensation for service-related in active duty or something that develops at a later time, but originated in active duty. Then we have a veteran pension benefit, which is a low-income veteran benefit for elderly veterans who primarily need either a lot of home health care that they're paying in out of pocket, or they're in an assisted living facility. And the benefit is to subsidize at least some portion of their overall monthly fees. So that's a big popular benefit. We do healthcare enrollment. We do appeals at several levels for denied claims. We have a we do a lot of educational benefits / GI Bill. So the GI Bill, of course, would be for veterans who had gone through active duty. The other educational bit there would be dependents who qualify for educational benefits. It's like a spinoff of a benefit, a monthly compensation benefit, and it's there to provide educational benefits for dependents. So we also do a lot of military records requests, not just DD 214s, but also awards, medals, commendations, all of that. There's a vocational rehab program that is the veteran has to have at least a 20% compensation disability award. But then if they qualify, they go through a series of vocational planning or the goal is to try to get into one of the 5 areas so that they can become employed, basically. If it's kind of a last ditch issue, but it also is very fruitful, and it's gone a long way to provide employment for veterans who otherwise aren't able to. So there's also a home loan guarantee program that we administer, VA life insurance, military pension assistance for veterans who have 20-plus years in the military, adaptive automobile program and adaptive housing programs. Those 2 benefits are for not necessarily amputees, but veterans who have loss of limbs, or what's the phrase they use? Loss of use of the limbs. And so if they qualify, the goal there is to the benefit is to, let's say, for the home programs, for example, there's a lot of veterans who need walk-in showers, grab bars, and then for wheelchair-bound veterans, they can do renovations in the bathrooms or all around the house if need be. So those are very helpful too. But I'm not sure how in-depth you want to go in this.
I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
What's your outreach to, I mean, do you go around to AMVETS, the VFW halls, in the county, do they have your contact information? Because
Yes,
I
yeah.
understand the VFW also does some of those things, right, with awards and compensation claims. But is there a way that you outreach to them so you can work together and
Yeah,
reach more veterans?
we're connected, yeah.
Okay,
The VFW especially, in here in Charlotte. But I know, I have communications with the American Legion post as well.
Okay.
And so, yeah, they have me come in every so often, and depending on what event they're doing at any given time, yeah.
Any other commissioner? Yes, Commissioner Toomey.
Thank you. Thank you for being in here today, Tom. I appreciate that. So I just have a couple questions on the chart here. So when I'm looking at, like service-connected compensation on the chart you submitted here, and it says 18, that means you help in that quarter, for those 3 months, you've helped 18 people navigate that benefit?
It would be an actual VA claim that we made.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not just, a telephone conference or an in-person conference. It's an actual claim that went through.
Oh, okay. I thought that column was number of people, and then I see it also as 18 in the form sent directly to VA. I assume that would be the number of claims submitted.
Okay, that first one that you mentioned, you're talking about the one with the numeral 18, right?
Yeah. I'm looking October, December. I figured that column was the number of people, and I see that in all scenarios on here, they are the same. So it says 18 people, and then I see form sent directly to VA is also 18. So I figured that meant.
Yeah.
So those numbers could be different, though, right? Like you could have 25 in column 1, and then 18 in column 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it depends on the volume. December and January are notoriously slow, relatively speaking. So this particular quarter is a little lower than what we normally see. But yeah, you're reading that right.
And then could you speak a little more to the other activities column on here, or the section right underneath total support services on what that all entails? I see that's the highest volume on here, so I was just curious.
Are you talking about service-connected compensation?
No, I'm looking at claim status checks, file reviews.
Oh, down there, yeah, okay. Okay,
Personal interviews of 189, that's basically how many phone appointments and how many appointments you have in the office for the quarter, correct?
yes, that's correct.
Okay, I see that was a large volume, so I was just kind of, can you tell me a little bit more about?
Well, yeah, so we get a lot of phone calls, we get some walk-ins, and we get, we schedule in-person appointments. And not all of those appointments create, I guess I'll say, a benefit at all. It's just that they want to talk to us about, what benefits that they might qualify for, and sometimes they don't qualify for any. But so that's a high number, and it just and the personal interviews can be of any number of things, and it's just we get a lot of phone calls, and so I document all of those, and it's because of the reporting we have to submit to the state, because we have a grant through the state. But yeah, those are personal interviews, either over the phone or at the office.
Yeah, and what's like a busy quarter like for you then? You said January and is a little bit slower for you, but how does that get for you? Because you're just the one staff, right?
Yeah.
So how high can that get in a quarter period?
200, 225.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about, let's see, we get about 22 days per month. And then, you've got to multiply that by 3 because it's 3 months. But yeah, it's, they add up. Yeah, it's a high volume position, that's for sure.
Yeah, and do you feel like folks are generally pretty satisfied? And once again, this is not on you, I just know you're one person, so like, do you feel like we have a good, you know, connection with the veterans in the community? Are they getting the service they need in the time that they need it? Just because it sounds like a large amount of volume.
Yeah, I think so. I do get, you know, feedback, but as a whole, I don't, you know, it would be hard to speculate, you know, what the veterans in Eaton County think of our office. I think it's pretty
I'd like to
efficient.
jump in and just say, you know, I think sometimes it's confusing too, whether this is a state program, a county program, or a federal program. And I think even though we help veterans navigate the complexity of the federal VA program, there are frustrations sometimes that rest at that level. And I know we do the best we can to help them navigate that. But there might be folks that would be like, hey, I'm not getting the disability level I think I deserve. That decision doesn't rest with Eaton County.
Well, I understand that. I was more asking
totally,
about
totally.
like just like, oh, if you get like 50 phone calls in a day, I'm not saying that you, or whatever, how many you get in a day, like I'm just saying, do you generally feel like you have enough time to do the things that you need to do and get back with everybody is really all I'm asking about.
Well, right now, we're in the middle of, well, we've gotten our state grant money approved. And with that, we're hoping to create a half-time veteran service officer that does the same, pretty much the same things that I do. And that would be a great help. And so we're kind of in the process of trying to make that happen. But we haven't interviewed anybody yet, but.
That's good to hear, though. That's
we're hoping and praying that it comes. Yeah, and I'd love to have someone with previous VA exposure or you know experience, because it would be tough to train someone who hasn't had any experience, because it can go, it can get in real depth, and you know, some of the benefits can get real complicated. And I'm really hoping that we can get somebody with experience. So we'll see. Within a few, I don't know, maybe a month or so, we will have gone through that process probably.
Awesome, thank you. And I have one more question of a program you mentioned earlier. You were talking about supplemental assistance for veterans that have really high healthcare expenses, whether it's in-home care, or they live in some sort of assisted living facility. Are you referring to the Aid and Attendance program?
Yeah, well, yeah. It's not actually called the Aid and Attendance program. It's the non-service connected pension, but within that benefit, there are two different add-ons, I guess I'll call, depending on the health of the veteran. Okay, and so aid and attendance is the thing that they call it is the highest level of requirements, or the need for assistance. I'm sorry. So it's the aid and attendance. I just call it aid and attendance to people that call me and ask about aid and attendance, because it's not worth just you know, trying to explain it and then tell me. So we just go with aid and attendance.
So there's two different, you said, benefits.
Levels?
Yeah, what can you?
Yeah,
like, just
homebound.
really light, like give me the.
Homebound is the lower level that increases the monthly benefit by about $350 to $400 as opposed to the base amount. But yeah, that's for basically that veterans who are homebound and cannot drive, can't get out without help, and that's that other level.
Okay, I got you. Okay, and then is that the because you mentioned that earlier in the report, so I was wondering what column that falls under? Is that in like the higher level reviews or that's in the appeals process, I guess? Like, how many of those do you deal with?
Okay, so I want to answer your question. You were talking about in the chart here, right?
Yeah, I was, because you mentioned that specific, so I didn't know if there was a column in here that shows how many of those cases you kind of help with.
Or, yeah, we're going to call it the survivor's pension benefit. And that's the one that includes the aid and attendance.
Oh, okay, I see it
add-on.
right there.
And so, do you see that up there? It's the third one down.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, yeah.
I was just curious, because I know that, my grandfather was drafted during the Korean War, and he receives, some benefits, and I know that was one that, I know it's a very complicated program, and I know he'd called the office before to get some help on that, so just want to.
He called the office?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just want to say I appreciate the work you guys do. I know it's a very complicated program. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of paperwork, and
Yeah,
a lot of these programs are very tough to navigate for veterans, just to submit all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there can be a lot of number crunching in terms of this survivor's pension benefit. But, I've done it enough, 14 years, and we get it done, so.
Cool. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it, and thanks for all the information on the programs here, and just wanted to make sure that, you have the resources you need so that we can get the veterans the resources they need. So,
Right. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
done?
Appreciate that.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Commissioner Wright.
I had the opportunity a few months ago to come down to your office, remember?
I do.
And there was a veteran down in Georgia that was in need of help. And so the other person is the contact that goes to Georgia to help do all the veteran stuff. It worked out great.
Great.
And so I was happy because they were texting me what they were doing. And I had sent them a copy of what you gave me because we couldn't be specific between Eaton County and Georgia.
Yeah,
offices, which
yeah.
is a much larger.
Yeah, so instead of, on that one, instead of staying within our own little Eaton County confines for special people, we go down to Georgia too, so.
Oh, really? So I really appreciate it because I didn't know anything, so I just wanted to let you know. Send all the veterans over there to get out of these books.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Miscellaneous, 14.
Nothing.
Okay. Number 15, public comment. If you have a public comment, please come up to there. And keep it within 3 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you for that, giving us a year to get used to what's going on, but I still have no answers to the questions we have brought to you. I'm going to point out to begin with that they were looking at the accounting of how much this was that they got last year. 6 of those, at least, are in the city of Charlotte. Not even relevant anymore because the city of Charlotte's taken it over on their own. So, Commissioner Pearl Wright mentioned at the last meeting that there's multiple festivals that are held, or events or whatever, in Grand Ledge. Not one of them is on this list. So apparently there is some kind of a description as to what is a festival, which I think all of those would fall into. How are you going to monitor that everybody has to pay this fee? And what is the real description of the fee? We are reverting back to what was given to us as a residential electrical inspection. Never been the same price, never been $84. What are we paying for? We have no electrical to be inspected. If you want to go over and inspect the rides, I think that's wonderful. Charge the carnival company. That's great. I to know that that's there, that's fine, but charge them for it. Because we are a little bit separate because we are the first festival of the year. The state's out there inspecting things, and so is the fire department. So all that electrical is being inspected. What is the Vermontville Maple Syrup Festival or any of these other festivals paying for? And how are you going to monitor this? Are you going to go to Grand Ledge now and say, or Sunfield, or Mulliken, I don't think Mulliken has one anymore, or Delta Township, and are you going to tell them, hey, you've got a festival fee of next year coming up of $250? How are you going to monitor it? What on earth even is it? When we get this fee this year, I mean, obviously we're going to pay it. And to think that this is something that's been existing, it is not. It's a new fee. It was dreamed up with that new fee schedule. I believe that if construction code schedules had been looked at like you're looking into the drain commissioner ones before they just got passed, maybe this wouldn't have happened. I know that I encouraged it back then, but it was a little bit too late because that's the day that it went to the full board. So if we are going to pay this fee, we need to know what electrical you're going to inspect. First of all, we have no residential to be inspected. Second of all, we have no electricity because we don't provide electric for anybody. The village does provide the hookups for the generators and stuff for the carnival company. What are you inspecting? That's been our question right from day one. And how are you going to make all of the festivals that go on in this county pay this fee? And what are you going to inspect any of them? Because if you go to the Island Fair, the Island Arts Fair, there's all kinds of tents and stuff up there. I don't know if they get power or not. I bet they might. Why aren't you inspecting them? If that's what it's going to be. So this is not something that's coming down as a legitimate inspection. It's a pick on certain people thing. So take out the ones that don't even count. Everything in the city of Charlotte's gone now. And you've got a fundraiser, the Olivet Fireman's Fest, the Humane Society fundraiser, Gizzard Fest in Potterville, and the Maple Syrup Festival, 2 of which have carnivals. Inspect the carnivals, go ahead. If in fact they provide electricity to somebody, that's fine. But play fair across the board and make everybody do it and figure out how to monitor how everybody is going to be able to do it. So this year, as we pay our $84 fee or whatever it is, we need a description of exactly what's going to be done so that we can be prepared for that. And I know this is coming really, really fast. We don't have a problem with doing a permit to keep us safe, to keep everybody safe, but we need to know what the permit is for. And that still is not done. So residential? Are you going to say that the village streets in Vermontville are residential? What are you inspecting? That is the question that we brought to you nearly a year ago. And I still haven't gotten any answers. So there's no ducks in any row here. They haven't moved at all. And I understand that you do not know as commissioners what's going on there any better than we do. You have to get that information.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
I said thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, I know you guys asked for the information, but I don't see that you got it.
Yeah, your time's up. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Moving on to adjourn. Okay. We're adjourned.